crikey.
Oh Christ.
That's on the
We're
screen.
live.
Screen.
We've got no light.
Oh, that's better.
That's better, isn't
That's
it?
a lot better, yeah.
We were in. Oh, I can't see nothing. No. We were plunged into darkness, weren't we, Mark?
Yep.
Move your computer a bit.
All right.
Seamless.
Yep.
I've
lost my pen now. It's going to be
It's
under
what you
light.
come to expect, isn't it?
Yeah.
To be fair. Oh,
Welcome, one and all.
Well, Ben and Rick.
You're the old Rick.
The oil rig. Right. Okay. I've got professional things today, haven't we, Mark?
Yeah. Johnny Fettler's in the house.
Johnny Fettler's in the house.
Hello, sir.
You'll make me a cup of tea, Johnny. So we've got professional gubbins today, which means that we're going to try and share pictures.
Yeah, it's very exciting.
First time we did that, we tried to share videos and it buffered, didn't it?
Yeah.
So we've got more professional setup.
Yeah.
We've got big mic.
Yeah.
And we've got all sorts of things going on here. It's like bloody NASA.
Yeah.
In here.
Yeah.
And this is probably what they make the spaceships out of.
Brilliant. Yeah. Johnny's got the kettle on, so
Johnny's got the kettle
working in all angles.
We didn't know whether or not to have the music today because we've ventured out onto Facebook and been advertising ourselves, and we were like, what if some new people come in and they don't realise that we're really unprofessional and a bit odd?
But that's an inimitable style. Is green tea's in the house.
Green tea's in the house.
Well, I mean, we can have a vote.
We'll have a vote in a minute.
Who wants music between questions?
You know the music between questions. Gary Robinson used to like it, but we think he was laughing.
Maybe he was being sarcastic. I don't know. He's not there at the moment, I don't think.
Oh. So in between questions, we usually have music.
Without dynamic dancing.
But we've gone onto Facebook. After 3 days, I got not kicked off, but I wasn't allowed to do nothing. All I did was like a comment on Facebook. I haven't been on there since like 2018. There's a lot of rude bits. Facebook's a lot ruder than it was in 2018.
The rude bits are okay, isn't it?
No, the rude bits weren't okay.
No, not for you.
What? Who for then?
For Facebook.
The rude. Oh, I see.
Facebook. Are they happy for rude bits to be on display?
The rude bits were okay.
Obviously not for me.
No.
Rude bits are on display. Facebook's fine with that. But you say you like something that's sort of criticising the medical response to the C word. You're off. Off right away. You just like it.
I didn't even say anything. I just liked a comment that somebody else said, and it's like, no, you can't do that. You can bugger off for 24 hours. I didn't know that meant that I then couldn't like anything else because I didn't know the rules. So I started liking other things, and then it said, no, you've got 15 hours, or you got another 9 hours. So in the end, I just put it away for a few hours. So I was on Facebook for 3 days, got a restriction. But because we went onto Facebook and we made lots of nice new friends, if they come over here now, they're going to think, what is this?
But this is us.
What is it called? Inimitable style.
How do you say it, Liz?
I don't know. Inimitable tile. So, listen.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and do...
Ben shared us. Thank you, Ben.
Oh, Ben, thank you. But that means people are going to come in.
You draw in the crowds, Ben.
We appreciate it. So, I am going to try and share things today. So I've got myself over here to watch myself to see if I'm doing it right. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be more professional this week because we've got some better gubbins.
Yeah. So thanks for sharing, Ben. This is absolutely it.
Thanks, Ben.
Get the word out there.
We've got updated gubbins. So let's see if this works. But if it doesn't, don't matter, does it?
Go for it.
All right. Don't give me pressure. Right, watch this. So now for the news. But I'm just going to try and do something clever that didn't work last time. Share screen. Not that one. Wait, Mark, don't you dare. There we go. Share. There he is. You see him? Look, is that working?
Yep.
You can see him?
Yep.
Can the people see him?
Yeah. Linda's in.
Linda, can you see Richard D. Hall?
Richard D. Hall's on the screen. Can you see it, everybody? I can see it here.
If I that, it goes a bit small though, doesn't it? Does it go small on you?
It's worked.
Has it worked?
Yeah.
What happens if I do that? Can you see that?
Not at the moment.
Oh my goodness, I think I've done it. I think I've made it work. Brilliant. Well, you've just got Richard there, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to... No. I'm going to do this.
Right.
Oh, blimey, I'm coming out in a bit of a sweat.
Right, that was the first share successful.
Look at that.
That's it. We're going, everybody. We're finishing now, everybody. That's it.
We just wanted to show you our
you can just watch the picture
IT
of Richard
skills.
D. Hall for the rest of the 2 hours.
I would, to be fair.
Well,
I like him. Okay, so this is the news. Okay, stop banging things. It's noisy. Right. Richard D. Hall, aka RDH, needs our help. And I, for one, will do whatever I can to facilitate. RDH has been at the forefront of exposing lies, cover-ups and psyops for 20 years. He was part of my personal awakening, bringing truth with integrity to taboo subjects the mainstream media wouldn't touch. His journalism is second to none. Just watch 1 or 2 of the episodes of Madeleine McCann to see just how much time, effort, and his own personal finances he has put into shining a light on issues you think you know all about, only to find a dark underbelly, usually at the real heart of the matter. As we know and have seen time and time again, there is only so long you can expose demons until they start to fight back. One particular gin-infested meatbag was chosen to do exactly that. Bring Richard down. Its name is Mariana Spring. Hilariously, the newly appointed specialist disinformation correspondent for the BBC, who said, "The focus of my job is to humanise disinformation and explain its impact to viewers, listeners and readers," was caught lying on its CV when applying for a job in 2018. Basically, it honed in, remember the Eye of Sauron in Lord of the Rings? On Richard's evidence-based research concerning the British city beginning with M in the north of England. I can't say the word or this video will be banned. But we don't live in a fascist dictatorship, you absolute conspiracy theorist. And the rather large bang that happened at another demon-infested meatbags concert. I don't know, will I get into trouble, Ben, if we type what it is in the chat box? Because I don't want to say what it is here, but people might be going, what is she banging on about? So, Ben, if we won't get into trouble, can you write what it is in the chat box? Something in Manchester happened and it had a big bang, and Richard is basically saying he doesn't think it went down like that. Okay. So, offguardian.org wrote in 2023, the BBC's special disinformation and social media correspondent, Mariana Spring, calls Richard D. Hall a disaster troll. She claims that Hall lives in a dark world and that his warped views have led him to the doors of terror victims. Spring says that Hall is spreading obscene lies and that he is at the centre of a network of conspiracies. An email from Richard sent to subscribers on May the 9th, 2023, subsequently uploaded to his website along with all of his other correspondence, including a copy of the claims made against him in relation to his work on the 2017 Big Bang incident in Mchester, and the defence compiled by Richard against the claims, advises, I have received notification that a legal claim has been filed against me in the High Court. The claim is seeking damages and an injunction for harassment and breaches of the UK GDPR and Data Protection Act 2018. Note that there is no claim filed for libel or defamation, which has been incorrectly reported across most of the mainstream media. To bring us up to date, Richard appeared at a High Court hearing in London on the 29th of January this year. As far as I can tell, the plaintiffs were applying to have all Richard's evidence excluded from the hearing. It's like he's playing tennis without a racket, basically. Now, we are extremely lucky to have had our very own roving reporter, Ben the JR Porter, at the scene, showing his support for Richard. And he's given me permission to read out his fair and thorough article posted on her panwayvoiceblogspot.com, which I will put in the details description later, so you can have a look at it. It's called The Truth is No Defence. So here it is, Ben's article. Richard D. Hall has appeared in court, and I went along to support him and report on proceedings. The case was held at one of the highest courts in the land, the Royal Courts of Justice in London. I got there early to maximise my chances of getting a seat in the public gallery. I was also worried that Mariana Trench, Spring to the rest of us, would bring in a school of deep-sea bottom feeders from the BBC to hog them all. As it turned out, she never even showed up. As it was, so many people were there, all on Richard's side, that some couldn't get a seat. My good friend and comrade, Dr. Nick Colostrom, was there, and I should have guessed he would be. He is an ace at analysing legal dramas. Ben puts a link in his blog then to highlight some of Nick's stuff. The Royal Courts of Justice was built in 1870s and is a grand and striking building, but I think ugly and intimidating. It has a very bad energy. It reminds me of Dracula's castle or Barad-dûr. The courtroom itself was quite small, and the public gallery was mixed in with the council benches. The security at the main entrance was similar to that of an airport. I had to empty my pockets and step through a metal detector. All potential weapons cannot be taken into the courts, including sharpened spikes, no doubt. Richard turned up dressed in a dapper grey suit and waistcoat. The first time I haven't seen him wearing brown or black. I wasn't sure how he would react to my presence because, as you know, well, you might not, but you will now. He and I have had our differences, but he greeted me warmly and thanked me for coming. He had no barrister with him and was defending himself, typical of his style. His counsel was a Mackenzie friend who was a retired solicitor. The hearing only lasted about an hour and 3/4 and was actually quite simple. I didn't take down any written notes because I wasn't sure how it would look to do so. But I didn't really need to. This was not Richard's trial, just a preliminary hearing, establishing the rules of the future full trial. But it is vitally important, as I explain here. Ben puts another link in, go and have a look at his blogspot. The claimant's barrister began by explaining why he thinks all Richard's evidence should be struck from the record. Let me read that again. The claimant's barrister began by explaining why he thinks all Richard's evidence should be struck from the record. Now, I went ahead and read some more of Ben's blogs, and he said that's why they didn't do him for libel. Because if they'd done him for libel, he would have had to have produced his evidence. Right. So brilliant, Ben. So they didn't do him for libel because he would have had to have produced his evidence. So they're basically saying, we're going to go ahead with this trial, but the whole point of this is we're putting forward that, Richard, you're not allowed to bring your evidence. So this was finding out whether or not he could bring evidence. This was, he said, because all the facts of the Chester Big Bang, Ben writes it properly, attack have been established by other proceedings, such as the Chester Big Bang inquiry. He also provided some reports from Martin and Eve Hibbert's doctors. Those are mum and dad, I think, or something. No, the daughter, the father and daughter that were supposedly at this Big Bang. The facts don't need to be disputed because the facts are legally agreed upon already. That was the purpose of the inquiry. Richard countered by saying that the facts were not all agreed upon. In fact, a significant proportion of the population are conspiracy theorists who share his views on many subjects. The inquiry was not a proper legal ruling anyway. He then provided a skeleton of his own research. The judge had been given a bundle of more that he could study outside the court. Viewers of Rich Planet TV will be familiar with this information. For example, and Ben's got another link there. Martin Hibbert sat at a bench on the back row. A space had been cleared for his wheelchair. In front of him were two of the claimant's counsel solicitors, and the barrister himself occupied a solo seat on the front row next to Richard and his counsel. I gather there was a reason for this formation because the barrister insisted upon it. Mr. Hibbert himself remained silent throughout. In fact, no witnesses were called at this hearing. His daughter Eve was not present. Richard spoke with authority and drive. He explained how his evidence has every bit of legal validity and should be presented at the trial. He comprehensively discredited the claimant's counsel's case. None of his defiance has slipped an inch. There's no doubt he won the performance competition. The judge did not announce a ruling and said he would have to consider for a while. Hopefully, Richard should receive a verdict in 2 weeks or less. What will that ruling be? Well, obviously, I hope it will be in favour of Richard, and in any fair judiciary, it would be. However, we all know other forces are at work in the establishment. If the judge rules in favour of the claimants, then we can safely say there is no doubt at all that the forces of darkness have marked this proceeding and they are trying to rig the process beforehand so that Richard cannot win. Anyone can beat the world's best athletes in a marathon if you make the referee break the legs of all the other competitors. Nevertheless, we should hope for the best. See here for a Hapanwo Radio, that's HPANWO, radio interview with Nick Colostrom about this subject. So look at Ben's article, and like I say, I will be putting a link to that in the description box. Thank you so much for letting me read that, Ben. It's absolutely fantastic.
Great article, Ben.
Thanks, Ben. On the scene.
Yeah, always.
But since Ben wrote this article, a document has been provided, which is basically saying Richard will not be able to bring his evidence to the main trial. An excerpt of the document, which is on Richard's website. I'll put all the links in the description box later on. The important and governing principle is whether there are reasonable grounds for believing that further evidence or investigation would affect the outcome of the case. There are no such reasonable grounds. Further evidence and investigation will increase the volume of material that a trial judge would have to consider and the time required to do so. But it is clear that the material would not affect the outcome. So they're basically saying you can't bring in any evidence because the judge will have to read it and that'll take too much time and it's not going to change the outcome anyway.
Because he's obviously guilty.
Because, they've made their mind up. So they've literally just said that.
Innocent till proven guilty. No.
Conclusion, this is what it says on the court document. For these reasons, I find that the defendant has not discharged the evidential burden which rests on him. He has no real prospect, indeed no prospect at all, of success on the issues, and I will resolve them in the claimant's favour. The defendant's applications for third-party disclosure are also dismissed. I find that the defendant has not discharged the evidential burden which rests on him. I think I've done that bit twice, sorry. I will list the case for a further hearing to decide consequential orders, costs and directions to take the claim forward to a final determination. I invite the parties to submit a draft order reflecting the outcome of this hearing and a draft order for directions for future conduct. So basically, they're saying Richard cannot provide any evidence when this goes to trial, which is bloody disgusting. So, okay, there you have it. One of our best alternative journalists, someone with truth and integrity in his heart, is waiting for his life to be decided by bought and paid for hitmen. Where would our understanding of the world we live in be without the trailblazing work of people like RDH? I don't think it matters personally what you think of MLK, Martin Luther King, at this precise moment in time, but I found quite a nice quote which really relates to this. So this isn't about MLK, this is about RDH. And Martin Luther King's quote was, "The silence of the good people is more dangerous than the brutality of the bad people." I'm going to put some links in the description box later on of how you can help Richard financially. He's got a kid, he's got a wife, he's got responsibilities. He's been trailblazing. He's been given the I'd only be awake, I think. Him and David Icke were the ones that woke me right up. How you help in other ways is up to you. I mean, I hope I'm helping by just reading this out. So how you help in other ways is up to you. But please just don't be silent about Richard.
Yeah.
So that's that.
Right.
So thank you, Ben, so much for letting me read out your fantastic article there. Absolutely amazing. So I'm going to stop sharing that.
Right. It's an action-packed show tonight, isn't it?
It's going to be no action.
Oh.
Well, we might dance to the song.
Well, the quiz is action.
Yeah. So that made me a bit sad writing that, actually. Made me a little bit sad. But it's very important. And some people say, he's our Alex Jones. Well, as Ben points out in his amazing blog, no, he's not, because Alex Jones bowed down. Richard's still going. Yeah. So, no.
And one could say as well, Alex Jones did have a lot of money. I'm not,
exactly
good pros and cons for him. And I know he's woken people up as well. But he did have millions to lose, which Richard D. Hall,
Richard had a stall in Wales where he was selling his books, and they even got him to close that down. So I think it's vitally important that we get behind Richard in whatever way that means. If we can't afford to send him £5, then just tell somebody about him. And I don't know, support him somehow. Yeah. Even if it's just a supportive email. I don't know. Let's just not be silent about Richard, because he's one of our kings, isn't he? Right, so that's that.
Right.
So now for the really annoying music quiz. So I've got it on the interweb today, so there's not any bits of flapping about paper anywhere, Mark.
We're all going to miss that. It'll be back again next week, I expect.
Yeah, it'll be back again next week. How was it though? Was with the picture, did it buffer? I don't know what they call it. So if I put that full, they can't see it, but I can. That's bloody ingenious, isn't it?
Technology.
Right, is everybody ready for the quiz? Fingers on buzzers, please.
Yes. So for new people,
God, that was depressing.
There's often multiple choice, but answers to the question. But instead of putting A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, if you actually write the answer or a little bit, just whether it's just a word to give the answer, just do that way. So
now, last week's I had somebody on Rumble compliment me on last week's quiz. He said that's the best one yet. Now, I read that after I'd done this one, and I feel a bit crap because this one's not as good as last week, in as much as I haven't written 6 pages of learning after each question. But there was still a bit of learning. But anyway, it's the taking. It's fun.
Ben loved it
because he won.
Yeah.
Well, Ben, you've already got some presents coming your way, whether you win or not this week.
So yeah, withhold them for a prize.
No.
Right.
Are we all ready?
Everyone, get into it. Let's go.
Brilliant. Number 1. Now, I'm not giving you any multiple choice questions with this, so you either know it or you don't. Sorry, starting off a little bit mean.
Yeah.
Let me make it bigger so I can read it. The term paganism, and if you don't get exactly what I've written down, but you just get the flavour of it, then that's fine. The term paganism comes from the Latin paganus, which means what? You'll have to tell me because I can't see today.
Yeah, all right. No one's typed anything yet.
What's the matter with them? Don't go bloody Googling it.
Right, Linda's come in with an answer.
Yes, Linda, go on.
Ben's been stumped.
Has he? All right, this is going on a bit.
Johnny's coming with an answer.
Johnny's coming. I always wonder what it's like for people that just join at this stage. Right, is everybody that's going to answer answered?
Well, there's only 2 answers in there. Oh, no, so Brian's coming with an answer as well. So we've got 3 different answers in there.
Right, okay. Oh,
no.
I don't know.
I thought that was an answer there, Green Tea, but it was...
She don't know.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so the answer I have got written down, what is the closest to rustic, rural, or civilian? So of the land, what's closest, Mark, to that?
Well, Diego Rivera has put nature. Brian's put sacred nature. So,
Linda's put outside.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that, or Linda?
Johnny's put foreign.
Well, it's kind of the opposite to foreign.
No.
Because it means of where you are, doesn't it? Right. So paganism means the population who were there to begin with, sort of thing.
Right. So like indigenous.
Good almost. Word. Have we got anything?
I'm not sure we've got anything.
We haven't got anything.
I think we've all learned something today.
We've all learned. We've got a nice Tony Topping quote.
Yeah.
But nobody learned, Andy. You'll appreciate that, Ben.
On Peep Show, yeah.
So we got a bit of learning.
Yeah, yeah.
The word paganus refers to someone of the countryside, rural, villager, civilian, and by extension, rustic or uneducated. Anybody got anything similar to that?
Well, as I say, just nature.
The term paganism was first used in the 4th century by early Christians to refer to people in the Roman Empire who practiced religions other than Judaism. Pagans were typically rural, provincial, and not soldiers of Christ. It's the people that were already there, basically.
Right. Well, I don't think
I haven't finished. Other terms for this, he always does this. Other terms for this class of people include Hellen, Gentile, and heathen. During the Middle Ages, the term pagan was used for anyone practicing a non-Christian religion and worshipping what was perceived as a false god. Okay.
Linda's adding extra bits now. Lives on the outside in villages. I think she's trying to sneak in and
give her a bloody point for just being a cheeky monkey. Linda's getting a cheeky monkey point. It's my rules.
All right. Okay.
It's my rules.
So Green Tea's saying that the word was derogatory.
Give her one as well.
Which I suppose the word was derogatory.
Give Green Tree a point. I'm in a good mood today, guys, because I've got all. Give Green Tree a point.
Oh.
Give everybody a point.
Oh. Well, can't give everyone a point.
Give everyone a point. Oh, Mari's not in tonight because she's driving off somewhere.
Oh,
so
she did come in. She
say
was
hi.
en route somewhere.
Oh, she might be listening.
She said hello. She said she was watching while travelling.
Oh, but don't type if you're driving. Right, let's get to number 2 before it's be here all bloody night again. So, question 2. Fingers on buzzers, please. In response to her... Oh, Ben, brace yourself. In response to her... Go and watch Ben's amazing video on the new Boudica film, bless him. Oh, right. In response to her treatment by the Romans, after her husband died, she was flogged and her daughter was raped by Roman soldiers. This is Boudica. Boudica raised a rebellion against them, destroying 3 cities. Which were they? I'm not going to say it in that old language. Is that what language is that? Roman? I can't say that. So was it Latin? I can't say that. Was it the 3? Ben knows this because he literally said it out the other night, didn't he? Which cities did Boudica raise a rebellion against and win? Was it Colchester, London, and St Albans? Caerleon, Caerwent, and Carmarthen? Bath, Gloucester, Chester? Corbridge, York, Manchester? Was it Colchester, London, St Albans, Caerleon, Caerwent, and Carmarthen? Bath, Gloucester, Chester, Corbridge, York, Manchester? Oh. You like this one? I bet Ben's already written it. Right. The answer is Colchester, London, and St Albans, or Camolaminum.
First, because he just put Colchester. See, Ben, 3 words, all 3. But we said you only have to type.
Yeah. So, Ben, we're going to give that one.
You do know the rules, but I understand you wanted the full information there because I know Boudica's important to you. So, but
hold on, you can't, Mark. Oh no, you can. I thought Colchester was in 2, but it isn't. So we give it to. Who are we giving it to?
Israel.
Oh, hi, Israel. I didn't even know he was in it.
Diego Rivera.
We'll give it to Diego Rivera, Ben, because you only had to put Colchester to win, but you both won. But Diego Rivera got there first.
There's no prize for comedy.
Laura?
No. That doesn't need to be repeated. Keep going.
Right. Okay. Well done.
Hi, Margaret.
Hi, Margaret. Fair is not that fair in our quiz, Rick. We make it up as we go along. Right. Number 3. Fingers on buzzers, please. What now? If you'd been listening to him last week, you'd know this one. That's all I'm saying on the subject. What monarch's reign was John Dee born in? What monarch's reign was John Dee born in? Elizabeth I, Henry VIII, Edward VI, or Mary? Which monarch's reign was John Dee born in? Is Green Tea calling me, or is she saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, what you bloody want? Everybody say my name. Now, that was a bit of a trick question. Who's the first with Henry VIII?
It was Ben this time.
Well done, Ben.
This time it was the other way around. He beat Diego Rivera.
That was a bit of a trick question because all we were banging on about in the talk last week was Elizabeth I, John Dee. Oh, they got married. They had a...
Yeah, she's probably the monarch that he's most closely associated with
but
as an advisor.
When he was born, Henry VIII was on the throne, so that was a bit of a cheeky one. John Dee was born in 1527 in Tower Ward, London. That's all you're getting for that, learning wise.
Yeah, there was loads of it last week.
There was loads last week. Yeah, just watch last week.
Not now.
No, just stay there.
This week's now.
Right, this week's. Right, so who won that one?
Ben.
Well done, Ben. Right, number 4. Fingers on buzzers, please. What story did H.P. Lovecraft co-write with Harry Houdini? Now, Ben's just put Harry Houdini blog on his blog spot. Eh? Which story did H.P. Lovecraft co-write with Harry Houdini? The Festival, Imprisoned with the Pharaohs, The Tomb, or The Lurking Fear? The Festival, Imprisoned by the Pharaohs, or with the Pharaohs, The Tomb, The Lurking Fear. I think this is the best bit. It's the only bit of bloody exercise we get. Has everybody done it?
We've had a couple of answers coming in.
Right, what's everybody put? Oh, no. Okay, what's everybody put?
Well, Linda was the first person to answer. That's with Tomb, just ahead of Diego Rivera.
The answer is Imprisoned with the Pharaohs.
Brian put the pyramids, so I suppose are we giving him that?
Well, yeah, because that's Egypt.
Yeah, all right.
And he's right.
Okay.
Well done, Brian. So, Imprisoned with the Pharaohs fictionalizes an allegedly true story told to Lovecraft by escape artist Harry Houdini. After being kidnapped by a local tour guide who bears a striking resemblance to an ancient pharaoh, Harold Houdini is thrown in a deep pit next to the Great Sphinx whilst trying to break free. He happens across a large cave where he encounters an ancient god and inspiration for the Sphinx. Written in collaboration with Harry Houdini in February 2024. So H.P. Lovecraft co-wrote Imprisoned with the Pharaohs with Harry Houdini. Well done, Brian. Is that Brian?
Yes. Yep.
Perfect. Right. Number 5. In the Terminator film, what do they use in the future to detect the Terminators? In the Terminator film, what do they use in the future? Terminators. Sixth sense, magnets, dogs, or smell? Sixth sense. Oh, magnets, dogs, or smell? How do they detect the Terminators?
Hey, Cosmic.
Hi, Cosmic. Don't you worry about it.
We're only 4 questions into the quiz. You can still catch up.
Oh, Cosmic, go and listen to my beginning bit later because it's about Richard D. Hall and I think it's quite good.
Yeah.
It's also, I've written some of Ben's blog spot out, so you'll be interested in that. Right. So, who came out with dogs first?
I think that'll be our Linda.
Linda!
I believe I'm right.
There's not a lot she didn't know about an Arnold Schwarzenegger film, mind. So, yeah, it was dogs. And there's no learning about that one because it's
just beat Margaret. Margaret, you got that one right.
See, the girls know.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okie dokie. Well done, Linda. Let's go to number 6. Which of these was written by Mary Shelley? Vindication of the Rights of Women, The Last Man, St. Leon, or Inquiry Concerning Political Justice? Mary Shelley, did she write Vindication of the Rights of Women, The Last Man, St. Leon, Inquiry Concerning Political Justice? Rights of Women, Last Man, St. Leon, Political Justice. Oh, this ain't working. This is rubbish. What's going on here? This is a pretty new one.
If you can write a word at least, Johnny, to tell us your answers.
Vindication of the Rights of Women, The Last Man, St. Leon, Inquiry Concerning Political Justice. You there? Has everybody had a go? Not yet.
Well, there's been a few goes.
Right, we call it an end because that's the whole point of the music, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, who was the first one to say The Last Man?
It was our Linda again.
Bloody
just ahead of
Linda!
Margaret. There has one.
Have you been on the bloody sherry again? She's doing bloody brilliant.
But Ben was on the bit on the wine last week, so maybe this
alcohol
is
the answer. I'm an alcohol worker.
Oh, just beat you, Margaret.
Well done, Linda.
Yeah. Brilliant.
So, The Last Man was also written by Mary Shelley. So, Vindication of the Rights of Women was written by Mary's mother. St. Leon and Inquiry Concerning Political Justice were written by Mary's father. Now, me and Mark didn't know this, but we're bloody well going to get this book now, aren't we? The Last Man. I wonder if you guys knew this. The Last Man is in a pocket. Ben, maybe you could do this. Maybe you could read this book on your thing and then we all have a chat about it. The Last Man is an apocalyptic dystopian science fiction novel by Mary Shelley, first published in 1826. The narrative concerns Europe in the late 21st century. You're not going to believe this. Ravaged by the rise of a bubonic plague pandemic that rapidly sweeps across the entire globe, ultimately resulting in the near extinction of humanity. Can you bloody believe that? We were like, why have we never heard of this? Write it down. We're going to buy that. Can you believe that, everybody?
Oh, yeah. She was down the road in Bath as well.
She was down the road
when she was writing part of Frankenstein.
We've now got a Frankenstein experience in Bath, haven't we? Yeah, that bloody neighbour when she gets up in the morning.
And Mum Wollstonecraft won the Vindications of the Rights of Women.
Wollstonecraft.
Right, yes, and she lived on the same street as my dad. Not at the same time. They were about a century or two apart.
Are we getting on to the next question? It's not your go yet. You have a bloody great big...
Just a bit of trivia for the fans.
I can't... Oh, by the way, because we've got this modern technology, when he does his bit, I'm not allowed to sit in the back anymore and just eat biscuits. I've got to sit up here and get pictures up for him.
Oh, yeah, bloody hell, yeah.
That's unbelievable.
Right, no.
Right, number 7. Fingers on buzzers, please. The Mad Monk is so famous or infamous that he is known just by his surname. However, what was Rasputin's first name? Vladimir, Nicholas, Grigory, Boris. Rasputin, Vladimir, Nicholas, Grigory, Boris. It's pretty, isn't it? I'll give somebody a bloody seizure.
Oh God, yeah, I hope no one's got a thing going on. What are you trying to do?
It's just a bit different.
Bloody MK Ultra. He's trying to bloody mind control the bloody audience. Oh Christ. Yeah, we've sold out to the Illuminati, so now we're actually practicing MK Ultra mind control.
Stop banging the table with
well,
the
that's
pen.
all part of the mind control.
It did look like MK Ultra. Sorry. Bloody hell. Right. So, who was first with Grigory? Or close?
Ben is picking up pace. Ben was just ahead of Linda, who is absolutely on the road.
Hold on a minute. Scroll up.
Hold on.
I thought I saw somebody else. I might be bloody wrong here. I thought I just saw Gregory. I'm sure I did.
Yeah. Well, Ben said Gregory, Linda Gorgoli, and Diego Rivera Gregory.
Who said it first?
Ben.
Oh, well done, Ben.
As I said 10 minutes ago. Ben.
It's that flashing light. It's giving me a bit of a brain problem. I need a drink. Cheers.
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 Jungle juice or whatever.
Cheers.
Cheers. I'll wait to have a beer after the live stream because I'm a professional.
A professional what?
And I might get punched out by my wife.
You might get punched out by your bloody wife.
Yeah.
Right, number 8.
Ben's into Rasputin. What, the Boney M song?
Rah, rah, Rasputin, lover of the Russian queen. That's all we know. Yeah. Right, number 8.
I used to love Boney M when I was a kid.
All right, Mark.
Yeah, okay. Right.
Anne Rand's second novel, Anthem, developed her philosophy that people should rebel against collectivist society and instead honour and follow which part of the self? The id, the ego, the superego, the psyche. Anne Rand's second novel, Anthem. Is it about the id, the ego, the superego, or the psyche?
That's not going to help you get the answer, is it, Margaret, if you're 10 seconds behind on the live stream?
I'm 10 seconds behind to it myself. You're going to have to shout into the ball. Shout into the ball.
We don't want to deafen them as well as blind them.
It's all part of the programming.
Yeah.
Right. Who was the first one to say ego?
Well, that was Ben.
Well done, Ben.
It was Ben. I think Ben's the only one that had said ego. Yeah. Had a few other psyche, the id from a couple of people as well. But
well done, everybody. Well done, Ben.
Who is John Galt?
I'm asking the bloody questions here.
No, Ben's what? Eh?
Rand esteemed the judging, thinking, intellect, or ego Anthem was her science fiction novella about a future society ruled by the World Council. I've got that book behind me. With the individual nearly non-existent. A man called Equality 72521 was cursed with a desire to learn and create, which was viewed as a threat by the ruling council. For Rand, the I, or ego, was to be celebrated and protected because others wished to control or destroy it. Again, Rand had trouble finding a publisher in the USA, so Ego was published in England and revised as Anthem in 1946. It won the Hall of Fame Award in 1987, was nominated 2014 for a retrospective Hugo Award for Best Novella, and inspired many musical works, short stories, and plays. I've got that behind me. Right. Number 9. Well done, Ben, for getting that one right. Number 9. Ready?
Yeah.
This is an easy one, I think. But that's all right.
Go for it.
Oh, Guinevere was King Arthur's Queen, sister, mother, daughter. Hi, Gary. I didn't know Gary was in.
He's down the chippy, apparently.
He's been down the chip. Oh, don't. I've had some homemade bloody soup. I want to go down the chippy after this. I'm going down the chippy after this.
All
right. So Gary was the first one, I think, with Queen. I know that was an easy one. Sorry, but you know.
Well, yeah, but
Johnny Margaret said all of the above.
Johnny said bird. Is that his way of trying to say the above as well?
Well, that's fine but he did say it. He got it in there second.
Gary's back from the chipping.
Margaret Arthur wasn't from Devon. Oi, that's a bit close to me, young man. Right. Guinevere was King Arthur's wife, making her his queen. There are several stories about her, including the time when she was taken prisoner by Arthur's rival Melwas and held captive at Glastonbury for over a year. Her close relationship with some of the other knights is said by some to have helped bring down the court of King Arthur.
Ooh.
Calling her a bit of an old slapper, I think. Bloody rude.
You should have had that as one of the answers.
No. Right. Well done, Gary. Guinevere is a bit of an old trollop, apparently. Oh. That's not what you learn in the books, is it? Right. Number 10. Is everybody ready? Margaret, get your hands on the bloody keyboard for this one. According to legend, leprechauns are particularly skilled at mending which of these? Pots and pans, broken hearts, clothes, or shoes? Do leprechauns fix pots and pans, broken hearts, clothes, or shoes? Right. Who was the first one to say shoes?
Green tea.
Well done, green tea.
Yeah. Now, Margaret,
what's going on?
What's the question again?
What are leprechauns particularly skilled at mending?
Now, just as you were typing that, as you were saying that, rather, Margaret was saying, "I'm Irish." So we got a question about leprechauns, and then Margaret steams in with pots.
Oh,
well, maybe it's just.
I'm embarrassed for her.
Maybe it's just.
I'm embarrassed for her.
Maybe it's just our English.
She's on the old.
Maybe we've messed it up.
She's on the old. Aren't you, Margaret?
Yeah. Well, you know, maybe Margaret makes it if she's got
fucking pots. Oh well, I'm not fucking up. I ain't arguing with her. Not if she's on the fucking wacky backy. Right, the leprechaun. Ignore Margaret.
Johnny says model trains. That's a more modern version.
The leprechaun. Linda and Margaret are going rogue again. Rein them in.
Troublemakers.
Ben, you've got a spanner. You should be keeping control of that chat box. Mark and Linda are going off piste.
Me? Oh, Margaret.
Bloody hell. You identify as Margaret now, do you?
Well.
Oh, Christ.
I will do.
Let me give them the learning.
Oh.
After 3. 1, 2, 3. Nobody learned, Andy. Only Ben knows. Well, no. Gary and all that lot might know. And Cosmic will know who Tony Toppin is. We adore him, don't we? 1, 2, 3. Nobody learned, Andy. I love Tony. I want to meet him. I just love him. Right. The leprechaun is said to be a solitary creature whose principal occupation is making and cobbling shoes. Margaret. And who enjoys practical jokes. The earliest known reference to the leprechaun appears in the medieval tale Adventure of Fergus, son of Letty. The saga exists in 2 widely divergent versions. Try saying that. Oh. The text contains an episode in which Fergus Mac Letty, King of Ulster, falls asleep on the beach and wakes up to find herself being dragged into the sea by 3 leprechauns.
Nothing much has changed in Ireland, does it really?
How rude.
Sorry, Margaret. Only joking.
Unbelievable. Yeah, Dublin. But the rest of it wasn't quite nice.
Yeah, but that's where Margaret lives.
I know.
Yeah.
She knows my opinion.
Oh, right.
He captures his abductors, who grant him 3 wishes in exchange for release. Sounds like a gin to me, Margaret. I don't know what you think, my love. Leprechauns are vegans. it's a vegan brush.
Yeah, you're going to eat it.
I was going to have that with some chips.
Yeah.
Right, who won that? Not Margaret, I think.
Green tea.
Should be bloody ashamed of herself.
Yeah, it takes an American to tell.
Should be bloody ashamed of yourself.
Are doing.
Right, number 11. Baldur was the god of peace. Who caused his death? Thor, Tyr, Hel, Loki. Who killed the god of peace? Baldur. Thor, Tyr, Hel, Loki. I bet that whistling's annoying.
Probably people think it's a fault on the phone.
Bloody headache, I expect. Sauron? Bloody Ben on. Ben's on the bloody wacky backy.
Wine. Tracy Stevens. Hello.
Hi, Tracy.
Joe Biden.
Palpatine. You lot, you've all bloody well gone off piste again. What's going on in that chat box? Ben, you're supposed to be sorting it out, not starting the bloody revolution. Bloody hell. Right. Did anybody in this mad chat box say Loki?
Gary Robinson was first, just ahead of Green Tea and Linda.
Well done, Gary. A bit of sense in that bloody chat box.
It's those chips.
They've all gone rogue.
Yeah.
They've all gone rogue. And Ben's bloody starting it.
They're all on substances. Gary's on chips. Ben's on wine. I don't know what Margaret's on.
I don't know what Margaret's on.
Yeah.
Right. Everything in the whole world. Hold on, Mark. We're going to do some learning.
Oh, learn.
1, 2, 3. Nobody learned, Andy.
Nobody learned.
You don't say it twice.
Oh, I did.
But everything in the whole world made a promise not to harm Baldur when he was born. Everything except the mistletoe plant. Loki tricked Freya, Baldur's mother, into telling him this and then plotted to kill him. Loki sharpened the mistletoe into a dart and took it to where the other gods were having fun throwing things at Baldur. Because everything had promised not to harm him, all the objects turned aside and didn't touch him. Loki gave the dart to the blind god Hod. To the what? The blind god Hod. Oh, Christ. And tricked him into throwing it at Baldur, thus killing him. There was the chance of resurrecting him if everything on the planet grieved for him, but one giantess refused to cry. It was thought that the giantess might have been Loki in disguise. See, learning all the bloody time in this chat box. So, Gary won that, did he?
Yes.
Well done, Gary.
I've actually written Loki in there, but that's the answer, not the person who got it. Loki's actually not in the chat.
Why is everything?
Well, maybe he is, because it's a trickster. That's why everyone's acting up.
What's your bloody excuse? Oh, it's a full moon tonight. That's what it is.
Full moon.
They're all playing up in the chat box because it's a full moon.
Yeah, right.
That's what it is. Right, number 12. Fingers on buzzers, please. The Mothman was first mentioned in a newspaper on November the 16th, 1966. The headline read, "Couples see man-sized bird, creature, something." Which of the following descriptions was not given to describe the being? I'm going to read that again. The Mothman was first mentioned in a newspaper on November the 16th, 1966. 3 6s there. Just saying. I'm just saying. Yeah. The headline read, "Couples see man-sized bird, creature, something." Actually said that. Which of the following descriptions was not given to describe the being? It had 2 beaming red eyes. It had no head or arms. It had massive folded wings. It could move at 100 miles an hour, or it was completely silent. All of those, except one, was given as a description by witnesses of the Mothman. Which one's not true? 2 beaming red eyes, no head or arms, folded wings, could move at 100 miles an hour, or it was silent. Which one does not describe the Mothman? Oh, Christ, they've already answered. Bloody hell. Right, I'm going to stop that. Who was the first person to say it was completely silent?
Gary said silent. Brian was beaten to it because he gave extra information. They were very educational. To put the Daily Record. So that was.
He's heard about the prizes. He don't give a shit.
Daily Record move silent. So yeah,
awesome.
Extra information. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, you didn't.
You don't want that prize. He's heard about it. So the answer, it was completely silent. So
Gary again.
It was said that the creature made a noise similar to a record played at high speed or squeak of a mouse. So this terrifying thing was described as having, by 2 or 3 different people, not one person described all of these things. There was a few descriptions. It had 2 beaming red eyes. It had no head or arms. It had massive folding wings, and it could move at 100 miles an hour. Now, the person knew that because they were driving away from it at 100 miles an hour, and it could keep up. That's how they knew. Awesome. Well done. Who won? Gary. Well done, Gary.
Gary's doing well. The cough medicine is obviously working.
Cough medicine. Is Gary on cough medicine?
Yeah.
Honest to God, everybody's got this bad cough. I had it, turned on to a lung infection, went and then came back again. We were in the cafe and the woman that was serving Mark said, "Oh, I've got this bloody cough." It went and it came back again.
Yeah.
Anyway, right. Number 13. Fingers on buzzers, please. You asked my new thing. Do you like it?
Yeah.
I say that now.
It's good, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, is it my question, is it? Carry on.
Oh my God, we nearly had a bloody divorce about this question, didn't we? Did we or did we not nearly have a divorce about this question?
That's all right. Domestics later.
Do you want to read it out then? Mark came up with this one. Do you want to read it out? Or do you want me to read it out?
All right.
Mark came up with this one. God, it took so long. Fucking hell.
So which of the following musicians is not fascinated by alien/UFOs?
Not interested.
Which of these following musicians, music people, they weren't.
They get the idea.
Are not fascinated by aliens. Reg Presley of the band The Trogs, George Clinton from Funkadelic, Sun Ra, jazz musician, Phil Spector, record producer, Joe Meek, record producer.
So who's not interested? Reg Presley from The Trogs, George Clinton from Funkadelic, Sun Ra, who is a jazz musician, Phil Spector, who's a record producer, or Joe Meek, who's a record producer. All of them were interested in UFOs and aliens except one. Which one? Margot's got no flipping clue. Ben knows that Reg loves him.
Yeah.
There we go. Shall I read out the answer? Oh, Christ.
Yeah.
This is a long one. This is why we have an argument.
Do you want me to? I can read out the Lancers if you want.
The Lancers? You can't even say the bloody word.
So we got.
This was 5 times longer than this.
So we got to say the answer first.
Oh yeah. The answer is Phil Spector. Who was the first one to come up with that?
Green Tea got in first.
Oh, well done.
With Tracy got Spector as well, but Johnny got Phil. But Green Tea was the first with Spector. Do you want me to? Because there's a
Johnny
lot of words.
said turmeric milk. I think.
I think that was an answer.
They were in Hawkwind, weren't they?
I think they're talking.
He was in Hawkwind.
Yeah, I got that album. It's one of the best ones. But I think that's solutions for Gary's cough.
Is it chippy? Yeah. Is this where you get your fish and chips from? Green tea. Nom 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 nom. Can you stop bloody reminding me about fish and chips? I made a very healthy bloody potato. It wasn't that healthy. I threw shitloads of cream in it, didn't I? And then fucking homemade croutons on the top. Still wasn't fish and chips. Every 5 minutes they're mentioning fish and chips in there.
So yeah, Chippy is a takeaway food place, fish and chip shop.
You said that.
Oh, sorry. I'm so excited by my music question.
Do you want to read out the answer?
Yeah, I'll read it. Okay, so just a little bit of info about those who are fascinated.
Not little bit.
I edited this down. You know, it was about 6 pages.
It was. Get on with it.
So Reg Presley, as Ben was saying, so singer of the English band The Trogs, famous for Wild Thing, Love Is All Around. He was fascinated by UFOs and crop circles later.
Let's get on with it.
Saw them as messages, perhaps even warnings from an alien intelligence to a doomed humanity. He even wrote a book, Wild Things They Don't Tell Us, which explored alien abductions, crop circles, and what he saw as a close relationship between UFOs and ancient monuments. And I believe he was also he knew David Icke as well, I think.
Come on.
Ben. So George Clinton, funk soul musician, bands Parliament Funkadelic, spoken about being abducted by aliens, did an album called Mothership Connection, and he had a model spaceship on stage from the 1951 film The Day the Earth Stood Still.
Oh, that's interesting.
Sun Ra, avant-garde jazz musician, born Herman Paul Blount, 1914. So quite an old guy, but he came to prominence in the 60s. Well, at avant-garde, changed his name to Sun Ra after Ra, the Egyptian god of the sun. Had a visionary experience in 1936, 37. In the midst of deep religious concentration, claimed that a bright light appeared around him. And he said, my whole body changed into something else. I could see through myself. And I went up. I wasn't in human form. I landed on a planet that I identified as Saturn. They teleported me and I was down on stage with them. They wanted to talk to me. They had one little antenna on each ear, a little antenna over each eye. They talked to me. They told me to stop attending college. That's an excuse, isn't it? Because there was going to be great trouble in schools. That's interesting because, the world was going into complete chaos. And this was in 1940. Well, no, a bit after that. I would speak through music and the world would listen. That's what they told me. So this was just before the Second World War. Joe Meek, English record producer, sound engineer, songwriter, was one of the first producers to be recognised as an artist. His concept album, I Hear a New World, was his attempt to create a picture in music of what could be up there in outer space. He believed that his flat contained poltergeists, that aliens were substituting his speech by controlling his mind, and that photographs in his studio were trying to communicate with him. Unfortunately, he did then shoot his landlady. Maybe that was the aliens telling him, but unfortunately, yeah. But he did know Phil Spector. Just a link there to the other answer. I'm not aware of Spector being mad into aliens, but he was mad into guns. And he also did kill someone and get arrested. So there's a link there.
Who else killed somebody?
Phil Spector.
And he was
the
one that didn't believe in aliens.
Yeah, but he was also a bit mad. Not that you have to be mad to believe in aliens. Oh, God.
Right, Mark, thank you for the information on the longest bloody
This is why I don't do the quiz bit.
Oh, my God, we nearly divorced because of that one. Right, number 14. Fingers on buzzers, please. That's my new thing. Oh. I don't think it's going to take long for one person to answer this question. When is the official World UFO Day celebrated every year? January the 30th, July the 2nd. Hurry up, everybody, quick. August the 23rd, December the 1st. World UFO Day, January the 30th, July the 2nd, August the 23rd, December the 1st. Oh, I love the way Margaret's written that. Look at that. She's like, get in there, I'm having it. World UFO Day. Oh, there's music. I thought Ben would have been right in there. Which people say that, Ben? Oh, Christ. Not the people that write my bloody quiz, don't. Right. Now, Margaret was in there with J2. July the 2nd. Well done, Margaret.
Yeah, well done, Margaret.
Ben, you might not agree with this then. World UFO Day is celebrated every year on July the 2nd. The day is dedicated to raising awareness about unidentified flying objects and promoting the discussion and research of UFO sightings and encounters. It is a day for enthusiasts and skeptics alike to come together and share their experiences, theories and opinions about UFOs. July the 2nd was chosen as the official World UFO Day to commemorate the alleged UFO crash in Roswell, New Mexico in 1947, which sparked widespread interest in UFOs and extraterrestrial life. Ben will be able to tell us why that's probably not right, but I just go by what it says on the internet, Ben.
June 24th, Ben's saying that. Anyway,
well done, Margaret, I think.
Well done,
Margaret, indeed.
Yes. She got the dancing girls out for a right answer. Well done.
Right, fingers on buzzers, please. I'm getting on my nerves.
Oh, Ben's into World Disclosure Day, July the 8th.
Yeah, that's what he's into.
All right, fair enough.
2 days before my birthday.
Oh yeah.
Don't let it fuck up my birthday. Can we have it on? Can we have it on July the 12th? Right. Which king of France decided that the order had become too powerful? What order?
That's the question.
I haven't finished writing this one.
Oh, Christ.
The Templars.
Yeah.
The Templars.
Seamless.
The Templar Order. What, you know, the Templars. Knights Templar Order had become too powerful and moved to destroy it. Which king of France decided that the Templars had become too powerful and moved to destroy them? King Philip the Fair, King Henry I, King Charles the Bald, King Louis II. King Philip the Fair, Henry I, Charles the Bald, King Louis II. I'll do my own music. I'm going to stop. It's terrifying. So, has everybody had a go, or should I do some more music? Gary like this. He loves it. He loves it. Yeah. Okay, I'm bored with that myself. God knows what you must be bloody thinking. It was King Philip the Fair. Who got that one?
Your buttons are...
Pardon? Your buttons?
Yeah, sorry, I just pressed the wrong button and things went a bit funny
bloody
for a bit.
Typical, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just the story of my life, really.
Who was the first with King Philip the Fair?
Right, okay, right.
I think it was Ben.
Yeah. Oh, hang on. No, if you look above Ben, I think Diego Rivera came in there.
Oh, well done.
Yeah.
Oh, well done.
Plilip.
King
Plilip. Yeah, I think we got you got to say that's
well done, Diego.
Yeah.
By the beginning of the 14th century, King Philip the Fair because he was good looking, not because he was just. Needed money. The knights had refused him a permanent loan, and he was jealous of their power and riches and feared that they could become a threat to his own position. In 1307, he invited the Grand Masters of the Templars and Hospitallers, which is a religious military order that was founded at Jerusalem in the 11th century. I think they're still going. Anyway, supposed to be like a charity that helps people, but probably don't. Invited them to France to discuss the future of the orders, saying that as there was no likelihood of another crusade, he wanted to consider their future role. The Hospitallers failed to attend as they were fighting the Greeks on Rhodes at the time. Jacques de Molay, Grand Master of the Templars, arrived in Paris, was met with all appropriate honours and courtesy, but 3 days later was arrested. At the time, Philip also had all Templars in France arrested. He also obtained a papal injunction to arrest all members of the order throughout Europe and to seize their lands and property. Jacques de Molay and all his followers were handed over to the Inquisition. These actions meant that the French monarchy solved its financial problems for some considerable time to come. In 1314, 7 years after his arrest, Jacques de Molay was burnt at the stake along with several of his former preceptors. Is that a word?
Hold on. Are we still... Can people still see and hear us in the chat? Oh, I think
it's just buffering a bit.
Oh, I think it was just me. I think this went...
At his execution, he recanted his confessions and cursed both the king and the pope, saying that they would follow him in death within a year, a prophecy which came true. So don't piss off the Templars, I say. Right. Well done, Diego.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Well done.
So, number 16. Fingers on buzzers, please. The Kybalion, full title, The Kybalion, a study of the Hermetic philosophy of ancient Egypt and Greece, is a book originally published in 1908 by 3 initiates, often identified as the New Thought pioneer William Walker Atkinson, that purports to convey the teachings of Hermes Trismegistus. Why the hell did I do this one? Now, it'll become apparent in a minute. A central concept in the book is that there are 7 Hermetic principles upon which the entire Hermetic philosophy is based. Which of the following is not one of the 7 Hermetic principles? Christ, that was long-winded. Which one is not one of the 7 Hermetic principles? So is not. The principle of mentalism, the principle of correspondence, the principle of vibration, the principle of polarity, the principle of rhythm, the principle of stillness, the principle of cause and effect, the principle of gender, which is not one of the 7 Hermetic principles. Mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, stillness, cause and effect, gender. There we go. It's everybody had a little go.
Well, there's quite a few answers, yeah. Quite a few answers in the chat.
Johnny's putting logs on the fire.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be funny if that was an answer?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was perfect. Yeah.
A bit weird. So, the answer is stillness.
Oh.
Is not one of the Hermetic principles.
Well,
anybody get that one,
Green
Mark?
Tea just beat Margaret.
Oh, well done, guys.
Oh, they were so close there. So
well
close,
done,
Margaret,
guys.
But well done, Green Tea.
Now we've got a bit of learning. Ready?
Learning.
1, 2, 3.
But nobody. Oh.
You start off with but, don't you?
Oh.
1, 2, 3.
But nobody learned, Andy.
Right. So the principles are, as literally quoted from the book. So, number 1, the principle of mentalism. That all is mind, the universe is mental.
Yeah, I thought you might.
The universe is mental. It doesn't mean how I say it, old-fashioned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a t-shirt, wouldn't it?
The universe is mental. Okay, 2. The principle of correspondence. As above, so below. As below, so above. We've all heard of that, haven't we? This principle embodies the truth that there is always a correspondence between the laws and phenomena of the various planes of being and life. I quite like that. The principle of vibration. Nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. Well, God knows how long ago they figured this out, but they're finding out that's to be true, don't they? Frequency, everything's frequency and vibration in it, and sound, etc. The principle of polarity. Everything is dual. Everything has poles. Everything has its pair of opposites. Like and unlike are the same. Opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree. Extremes meet. All truths are but half-truths. All paradoxes may be reconciled. That's right. Clever mind. The principle of rhythm. Everything flows out and in. Everything has its tides. All things rise and fall. The pendulum swing manifests in everything. The measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. Rhythm compensates. The principle of cause and effect. Every cause has its effect. Every effect has its cause. Everything happens according to law. Chance is but a name for law not recognized. There are many planes of causation, but nothing escapes the law. They're talking about natural law. The principle of gender. Gender is in everything. Everything has its masculine and feminine principles. Gender manifests on all planes. I think that was really interesting. I got quite a lot out of that when I was doing about that. All right, guys. What are they doing in the bloody chat?
Oh,
I don't trust him when I see laughing faces.
You know, Margaret's in danger of getting us kicked out off YouTube because she was saying about gender is
You're
about
bloody
male and female.
Oh my God.
As you've just read out there.
Absolute right-wing, neocon, far right, conspiracy theorist. Right, 17. Fingers on buzzers, please. The most well-known runic alphabet is the Elder Futhark. But how many characters does it consist of? How many characters in the runic alphabet, the Elder Futhark? Oh, sorry. 33, 24, 14, 16. 33, 24, 14, 16. That's right, Gary. At least 2,000. One more time. I quite like this one. 33, 24, 14, 16. Right. I was waiting for somebody to get it. What does Nent 24 mean? It is 24 though, Linda.
So that's it.
Well done, Linda.
Linda got the right. Yeah, she's in first.
Linda's got. Hold on a minute. She
said 23 first.
She said 23 first, but meant 24. She said.
Oh yeah.
There we go. Meant. I know. Ask Tina. If Tina was in, she'd be bloody ashamed of a lot of you, except Linda. Well done, Linda.
Yeah.
Well done, Linda.
Well done, Linda.
As time passed and cultures evolved, so did the runic scripts. The Elder Futhark gave way to other runic alphabets, such as the Younger Futhark and the Anglo-Saxon Futhark. These variations brought about changes in the number of runes, with the Younger Futhark containing 16 runes and the Anglo-Saxon Futhark expanding to 33 runes. The Elder Futhark, dating back to the 2nd to the 8th centuries, is the oldest runic script. It consists of 24 runes, divided into 3 sets of 8 called Aettir. That's Aettir. I probably said it wrong. Each rune carries its own significance and meaning, ranging from fertility and protection to guidance and strength. Some of the well-known runes from the Elder Futhark include Fehu, which is wealth, Thurisaz, which is thorn, and Ansaz, which is divinity. If Tina watches this, she's going to punch me in the face because there's no way I said that right. Well done, Linda.
Yeah, well done, Linda.
She's knocking it out of the park tonight,
yeah,
man.
She's doing well. I'll say she's. I think she's in the lead at the moment.
Linda, you're in the bloody lead, mate.
Right, you got 3 more questions. You got to get it together. Right. Next question. Where does Linda live? No, it's not.
What's Linda's favourite colour? Right.
No, red. Oh, damn, I got it wrong. Okay.
Right. Fingers on buzzers, please. The truth is that... Hold on. Right, okay. This is a quote. The truth is that The Shining is the story of how Stanley Kubrick cut a deal with the US government to fake the Apollo moon landings. That is a quote by Jay Widener in The Secrets of The Shining. Or how faking the moon landings nearly cost Stanley Kubrick his marriage and his life. What number room does Richard Halloran warn Danny not to enter, and what does this signify according to Widener? So this is a two-pointer. So Jay Widener done a great bit of work on Stanley Kubrick and why he thinks there's loads of symbolism in The Shining. So 2-pointer. What number was on the door that Halloran said to Danny, don't go in there? And what does that signify according to Widener? So 217, 237, 231, 273. What door number and what does it signify? 217, 237, 231, 273. Just guess. 217, 237, 231, 273. I keep saying it because it's difficult to remember. Type them in there, babe. 217.
Oh, well, we've already got loads of answers, so.
Oh. 217, 237, 231, 273. Right. And you've all had to go at the numbers. Can anybody guess? You won't guess this. why that number is significant according to. Well, no, it just is significant.
Well, there's already been put in there. Gary's a little bit. He was like, I thought the rules where we had to wait for all the questions to be read, the answers to be read out, but I don't think we have actually said that.
Oh, Gary, you're making it up as you're going along, mate.
No, but I mean, you know, I think you know, if people know the answer.
Yeah.
Sorry, Gary.
Oh, bless Gary. He was doing it. He was doing it the right. He was doing it the professional way.
Sorry, Gary.
Give Gary a point. Just give him a bloody point. Give Gary a point.
Oh, this is some sort of collectivism now, isn't it? Like everyone gets a point.
Yeah, there's no such thing as winner or loser.
Everyone's a winner.
It's about the taking.
Everyone gets a prize.
It's about the taking part because
yeah,
nobody learned, Andy.
Well, hopefully somebody's learned something.
Basically, Gary's got a point, but who else has got a point? Because somebody else wrote 237.
Well, yeah, well, Ben did, but
Gary wants 2 points then.
But Diego beat him to it.
But
Ben in his answer put the whole thing in the question.
So
237 distance from the.
So who's getting a? So Diego gets a point,
and then
Ben gets 2 points. No, Ben gets 1 point because Diego got the 237 first.
Yeah.
And Ben put the answer is the average distance from Earth to the Moon is 237 million miles. I don't know. I have no idea what that number is.
1,000.
Ben, can I come on the Apollo Detectives review because I've obviously got a lot of in-depth knowledge on the Moon is 237 million miles. So I think they'd appreciate me on there. Right. So who's having a point then?
Well, I think
Diego definitely
Ben's
gets one.
saying one each.
So Diego, Ben, and Gary because he threw his dummy at the pram.
In the nicest possible way. Yeah, Gary. Yeah, all right. One for each. One for each of those 3 guys. Yeah.
Diego, Gary's a cheeky. Have you noticed if you're cheeky, you get a point?
Green Tea's looking at Ben's paper.
She's looking at.
Well, I didn't realise you were cohabiting.
Oh.
Wow. Well, actually, Green Tea's.
We're bringing the people together.
Yeah, actually, Green Tea. I think she's revealed some information, but I was so.
She's revealed some information. What about her living with Ben?
No, almost.
Bloody hell.
I'm 30 miles from the AFP.
Honest to God, you. Oh.
What's the AFP?
Apollo thing.
Where the B2 lives. 2 huge 2-blade transport helicopters just flew over. Don't see them off around.
Oh, here. Bloody hell. You'd get right on with Ben.
Well, yeah, Ben.
We should set up a crafty nihilist. Do you know what? Since I've been in Facebook, right? Because I don't know if you know, I joined Facebook last week just to get some more traction to our channel, and it worked. We got 1,000% more subscribers than the last 28 days. That only works out at about 1 person, but you know. Anyway, that's why we did Facebook to try and get some traction. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
I forgot what I was going to say. And we keep getting like people sending me like little bubbles that pop up on my phone saying, "Oh, send me your evidence. Send me the links for why you believe in nihilism." A, I don't. B, mind your own. And C, fuck off.
That's the way to draw them in.
No, but to be fair, we're not nihilists. There's a reason we call crafty nihilism, and you shouldn't assume, should you? Shouldn't assume.
No, we'll just tell them now for the fans.
For the fans.
You said before.
The crafty nihilist is about basically me being really fucking depressed if I don't do art or create or be crafty. Not as in I'm crafty, as in I'm gonna be manipulative and a crafty demon, but crafty as in I'm gonna sew a blanket. So. And I designed our little logo, and it's supposed to be the dark side of me, which pops out if I'm not being creative. The nihilist side of me pops out if I'm not doing something creative. Like this, for me, is creative, doing this. So I designed our logo, as you can see. It's like a yin-yang, so you've got the dark and the light, but there's little stitches going up the middle, and those are supposed to be like sewing stitches. And I keep getting bloody people being rather rude and like sort of like assuming and judging. So we've learned We've learnt now, haven't we?
We've learned, yeah.
Everybody learned, Andy. So anyway, I don't know why I told you that, but I did.
Yeah, Ben, so you got a sticker on the envelope. So if
you will get a sticker on the envelope.
Prize winners can get a sticker with the symbol. I just wanna. What
do you wanna?
I want to say Johnny's last comment because it's funny. He said he's doubled that in his van on his mileage for the 237 miles to the moon.
There's ways you can get that back again, Johnny. I don't understand it. I'm sure you know a man who does. Right, I'm going to do some learning now. So all three of you got a point, even though Gary didn't. But there we go. The average distance from the Earth to the Moon is whatever that number 237 little comma 000 miles, which I have no clue. Anyway, Jay Widener claims it is important to note that the room in question was numbered 217 in the Stephen King version of The Shining. So in the original version, it was 217. Kubrick told the press that he changed the room number from 217, as in the King book, to 237 because the owners of the hotel, which was standing in for the overlook, did not want customers shunning room 217. Therefore, Kubrick changed the number to one that was not in the hotel. So that's the story Kubrick tells. However, Jay says, I called up the Timberline Hotel on Mount Hood in Oregon and asked if I could have a reservation for room 237. I was surprised when they said yes. I asked if this room was in the newer part of the resort and was told that the hotel had always had a room 237. So somebody's lying.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 19. Fingers on buzzers, please.
Margaret's seen something round with legs. It's me.
What's she seen?
Something round with legs.
Something with legs?
That's me, probably.
Oh, it might be that poltergeist again.
Oh. Right. Let's go for the questions.
I put this was in for Mari, really, but she's not here. What is the final sign in the zodiacal? I've been practicing that word. Zodiacal.
Okay.
Zodiacal
Right.
cycle. What is the final sign in the zodiacal cycle? Pisces, Cancer, Sagittarius, Aquarius. Pisces, Cancer, Sagittarius, Aquarius. The final sign in the zodiacal cycle. Pisces, Cancer, Sagittarius, Aquarius. Ben says not me then.
No, it was me.
Oh. There we go. Who was the first to say Pisces?
That would be Margaret.
Well done, Margaret. Bloody hell, the girls are bloody coming on strong with this
Pisces.
one. So, I have absolutely no clue if this is right or not, but after 9 hours, literally, of trawling through really annoying pastel-coloured bloody websites about astrology, I just got angry and copied and pasted the following. So I don't know if this is right, but it was really pissing me off. But it's just all so fucking happy and pink and flowery, and fucking my bloody birth sign in this sparkly, I tell you. Anyway, so I just copied and pasted this because I was getting sick of the research. It's the last sign of the zodiac, Pisces, and one that's got 1 foot in the unseen world. As the last of the 12 aspects of all of them, this makes the Pisces sun so changeable as to appear not to have one singular identity. See, I don't know what this shit means. It's as if they're just touching down in this human reality and light enough to try on a few. I can't stand it. Try on a few persona. That's why Pisces people are natural actors, taking on the traits of other characters and even other time periods. There's a timeless quality about Pisces folks. See, I cannot bloody stand this nonsense. Yeah, so I don't know if that's true or not, but I'd looked at so many and they were all just grinding my gears.
Green Tea says, would that make March the beginning of the new year?
Don't ask me. I was too angry.
We need Mari here to...
We do need Mari. That one was for her, to be fair. I can't be doing with astrology. Well, maybe it's not astrology I can't be doing with. It's some fluffy... I'm going to stop. Don't mean to insult people, but everything I went on was love and light and new age and fucking annoying. But it's not that's not real, is it? That's not real.
I think there's a science to it. I've never gone into it.
I agree with it, but I just think it's the way people portray it. Most people portray it. Probably don't really know what they're talking about. I know what's her name, that Irish lady knows what she's talking about. What's her name? You know, that blonde-haired woman.
I don't watch it. Margaret says Aries is the start of the new cycle.
Christ, I don't even know what that means, Margaret. But anyway, apologies. I've probably just really annoyed a lot of people, but it's just not my cup of tea. But not the way some people portray it. It's not my cup of tea.
Fiona Edgar.
Fiona, yeah.
Thanks,
she does it all right.
Margaret.
She's good because she doesn't do it all like wussy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Anyway, moving on.
Mystic Meg.
Get somewhere with.
Oh dear. No. Right.
Yeah.
One more question.
Fiona's not like that.
No. Right.
She's
there's a final
hardcore.
question. There's a lot of tension.
I'm trying to dig myself out of it. I've just insulted loads of people hole.
Oh, all right. Maybe move on then. Before you then put your spade in your mouth.
Turn that bloody heater off. I'm boiling to death here. I think I've come out in a sweat because I've worried now. I've worried myself. Fiona, Fiona's like real with it. She's not like it's all pink. Anyway. Oh, we're on the last question.
Yeah, blooming hell.
Shut your bloody cake hole up.
I can't be bothered to talk about William Blake.
Well, I ain't talking about it.
Linda's retracted the message.
Well, what did that say?
She was probably saying, you bitch.
Yeah, I bet she was as well.
Oh, yeah.
Right, number 20. What does the word Kabbalah mean? Egoism, reception, giving, altruism. What does the word Kabbalah mean? Egoism, reception, giving, altruism. Kabbalah, egoism, reception, giving, altruism. Fiona rocks. Sounds like a cake. Yeah, because she's hardcore. She's not wussy. You guess, Gary. You guess. That's what we do. You'll probably still get a point from me because I cheat.
You're going rogue now. We're down to the.
They've all been going bloody rogue.
Down to the final bit.
They're all bloody going rogue.
Oh,
right.
My word.
Kabbalah, egoism, reception, giving, altruism. Who was the first person to say reception? Look at you, you all got it right. Well done, guys.
Green Tea was the first, but you know.
Well done. That's great.
Linda was just behind. Margaret just behind.
Sorry about that, guys. Well done, Green Tea.
Blimey.
Right. Chabad.com says that which is received. So reception, that which is received. That which cannot be known through science or intellectual pursuit alone. An inner knowledge that has been passed down from sage to student from the earliest of times. A discipline that awakens awareness of the essence of things. So reception, that which is received. Well done, Green Tea. Mark's got to do some bloody maths now.
Well, no, I mean...
Oh, he hasn't, apparently.
Well, I haven't got to do maths because I've been doing maths as we go along. But we've got to do something else because...
Oh, no, we haven't got a bloody draw.
We've got a 4-way tie with 4 points each.
Well, hold on, what?
There's 4 people with 4 points.
I've never known the like.
Never known the like.
Well, who's got
what a contest.
Who's got 4 points then?
Well, Linda.
Linda's got 4 points.
Gary.
Stop banging.
Gary.
Linda, Gary. Gary hasn't really, but Linda, Gary.
Ben.
Ben.
And Green Tea.
Green Tea. So is it them 4 that have to answer this question?
Yes.
Green Tea, Ben, Linda, and Gary, but Gary hasn't really. But now this is where we can. Now, if any of have a tiebreaker, we ask a question about ourselves, and no, it ain't a bloody expensive post office trip. Only one of them's getting it, mate. I tell you. So we got to think up a question about ourselves. Okay. What line of... Do you think they'd know what line of work you're in? Some people might.
Oh, it's a question, isn't
it?
It's a question.
What line of work? You can say where if you know, because we're not bothered. Where or what line of work is my husband in? Where or what line of work is my husband in? Mental health? What are you trying to say?
Well,
oh, yes, you did it. Yeah, Linda.
Yeah. Water, yeah.
Wessex Water.
Yeah.
Oh, but he does do writing.
Maybe
shit, he does do writing. But I was thinking of the water bit, the board.
Yeah, writing isn't.
But you are writing. You are a writer.
It's not my occupation. And anyway, Linda got in first.
You did, Linda. Well done.
Well done, Linda.
Linda, you've got my email. Send me your address, and I'll send you a prize. Well done, Linda.
You got it. You got it, basically, Ben. But unfortunately, Linda beat you to it, mate.
Well done, Linda.
You didn't get the prize this week, Ben.
Well done. No, but Ben's getting some bloody prizes from me for something else.
Yeah. Save it for his next win.
Well done, Linda.
Well done, Linda. Brilliant.
That's absolutely brilliant. But he does do writing. Johnny, it's done. Johnny's come in with writing, but he's right.
And he wasn't part of the tiebreaker anyway.
You're not part of it, Johnny. You're not even part. Mind your bloody neck in. Right, now, I usually go and sit down and have a break.
I'm bloody exhausted now.
I got bloody
exhausted.
I'm going to bed.
No,
you lot can just read about William Blake. What have we got to do all the bloody hard work?
Right.
Do you know this takes us all fucking Saturday? Well, it took him all week to do it. Anyway, moving on.
Anyway,
not moaning. We love it. So now I've got to do some sharing. Sharing, innit, Mark? Now you have Big Mike.
Big Mike.
You get into Big Mike mode.
Yeah. You can tell Liz in the chat if you can't hear me or anything like that. Or
I can't bloody do the chat and bloody do the
No, but or if I'm just too boring, Liz can punch me or something.
I'll fucking know that. Bloody hear
we'll do that anyway, I expect.
That needs to be turned off, doesn't it? Right, I it's usually just market this segment, but we've got some technology.
Yeah, technology.
Oh, it's serious. When it's serious.
Oh, it's serious. Got to take the thing out. Yeah.
Take the hat off when it's serious.
All right.
Right, so I'm going to share this. Hopefully this will work. I'm going to share the entire screen.
Okay.
I know. Entire screen. Screen. Wait a minute. And then go to... Ta-da!
Yeah, so William Blake.
Has that worked?
Yeah.
Hold on, has it worked?
Yeah.
I don't know it's bloody worked.
All right. Hold on.
Oh, is it worked, everybody? Hold on.
I've got a...
I don't think it's worked. Oh, there it is.
Ben wants a poltergeist, but you've got William Blake and me. William Blake and me, that's a title for something.
There he is.
It's all right, is it?
Yeah, go.
Right, okay. So, not that I chose it for this reason, but I think it's a good subject, William Blake, to follow last week's talk on John Dee. Both were fervent believers in a Christian God, but safe to say they were both very unconventional in their methods of practicing their Christianity. For Dee, he communed with spirits, or at least some form of entity, through the scrying of Edward Kelly. He studied ancient philosophy and new scientific methods to try and achieve personal enlightenment. But more than that, he thought it necessary, apparently following instruction from the angels, for an apocalypse to be created in the world, so a new Messiah and heaven on earth could be realized. He tried to fulfill these angelic demands through royal contacts, potentially espionage, later possibly through his influence on emerging secret societies. Blake was a visionary. He famously saw a vision of angels in a tree in Peckham when he was a boy, and these continued throughout his life. He also had visions himself, although he wasn't a seer in the way that Kelly was, but both could be called visionaries in the more material meaning, in that they saw a future for the world, for humanity, ways of changing society in ways they saw as improving it. And they transmitted their creative energy out into the world with the aim of achieving it. Dee used science and the occult and was accused of witchcraft in his age, although he wanted to realize a Christian kingdom on earth. Blake also wanted such a kingdom on earth and his tools were writing, painting, and engraving. But he wrote, amongst obviously many other things, The Marriage of Heaven and Hell, seemingly favouring hell over heaven. He advocated sexual freedom, and many of his works have been taken up by popular culture and have been presented in the way we talked about on a video, if you've seen that, our raw video, promoting the dark side as being the way to light and freedom. So was Blake on the side of the good angels or the devils? He was born in 1757 in London, where he would live for all but a few years until his death in 1827. Probably best known traditionally maybe in anthologies of romantic poetry, for his short poems like the ones in Songs of Innocence and Experience. So that's the next picture. But he was virtually unknown in his own time, by the public at large anyway. He had a few patrons who supported him, and he was known to more famous, at the time anyway, Coleridge and Wordsworth. But Wordsworth, in keeping with many people during Blake's life and still now, regarded him as mad. Although he was lumped together in later years with those famous romantic poets, he was never part of any movement or group. And in some way that is appropriate, because one of his abiding philosophies was that we shouldn't be entrapped within a way of believing or acting that was provided by some authority. We have to create and imagine our own reality. The character Los, which is next picture, in one of Blake's later prophetic books, Jerusalem, says, "I must create a system or be enslaved by another man's. I will not reason and compare. My business is to create." At the end of my D talk, I finished saying that to break out of the matrix or simulation, which in themselves are phrases and theories that in their own way perhaps can become a system, but we need to tap into our inspiration within our soul, for want of a better word, which is a way of saying our connection to the spiritual. I would say Blake was practicing his whole life through his art this concept that we have to tap into our individual creativity, our imagination, and not accept instruction from the codes and laws of others. Blake viewed followed ancient systems like Kabbalah, Hermetic traditions, like Liz mentioned in the question, code systems, symbols for the universe, but he sought to use these within a biblical framework. Blake wrote his own prophetic books, which utilized imagery and figures from the Bible, along with other pre-Christian legends, which he made into something of his own. For instance, the prophetic books refer to a giant figure, Albion, representing a pre-fall state of man that embodies everything. I have to say, it's a bit picked up in the camera if I show this, but
it's only little though. But
right. But anyway, it's just basically a book by a literary critic, Northrop Frye, Fearful Symmetry, which I think is an excellent commentary on his work. But obviously it's one person's work, but it was written in the during the Second World War. And just to quote a bit from Frye's introduction to that book, which sort of follows on from this quote, "I must create my own system." Frye writes, "We should take it in its context, not identifying the I with Blake, but seeing I as defining a necessary activity of the poetic process. One should never think of Blake as operating or manipulating a system of thought, nor should we be misled by his architectural metaphors to think of his symbolic language as something solidified and crustacean." Part of the context of Loss's remark is this: striving with systems to deliver individuals from those systems, that whenever any spectre began to devour the dead, he might feel the pain as if a man gnawed his own tender nerves. Cosmology is a literary art, but there are two kinds of cosmology: the kind designed to understand the world as it is, and the kind designed to transform it into the form of human desire. Platonists and occultists deal with the former kind. So I would say that's maybe where Dee was at in many respects, trying to understand the world as it is. And Frye writes, which after Newton's time, according to Blake, became the accepted form of science. And we know where that's led now. Cosmology of this type is speculative, which, as the etymology of that word shows, is ultimately intellectual narcissism, staring into nature as the mirror of our ordinary selves. What the mirror shows us is what Blake calls mathematic form, the automatic and mindless universe that has no beginning nor end, no up or down. What such a universe suggests to us is resignation, acceptance of what is, approval of what is predictable, fear of whatever is unpredictable. Blake's cosmology, of which the symbol is Ezekiel's vision of the chariot of God with its wheels within wheels, is a revolutionary vision of the universe, transformed by the creative imagination into a human shape. This cosmology is not speculative but concerned, not reactionary but revolutionary, not a vision of things as they are ordered, but of things as they could be ordered. Blake is often associated with a speculative cosmologist, but the psychological contrast with them is more significant than any resemblances. Blake belongs with the poets, with the Milton whose Raphael advised Adam that while studying the stars was all very well, keeping his own freedom of will was more important. Blake's poetry, like that of every poet who knows what he's doing, is mythical, for myth is the language of concern. It's cosmology in movement, a living form and not a mathematical one. The word is what gives movement to number, as Yeats says. So for me, sorry, reading a long quote there, but I like this because to me, it's like supporting our struggle now. Blake is railing centuries ago about what has become scientism, an imposing of a consensus, a narrative that all must follow, an explanation of our history, our origins, our future, which isn't allowed to be questioned. So if we go into the next picture, I've always loved this painting. It used to have a big poster of it on my wall. It called it Newton. So it's supposed to represent the scientist Newton. And looks like maybe he's underwater, sat on this giant, amazing boulder. But he's bent over down onto a little piece of paper where he's drawn a diagram of a protractor. So for Blake, Newton was synonymous with this reductive reasoning of the world, where he sought to divide it up into straight lines and formulas, while minimizing and totally missing the giant expanse of reality that was beyond and around it. And that's symbolized in this painting. As I mentioned in my detour, Newton was fascinated by the occult, alchemy and astronomy, actually. But now he's become known as this founding father of modern science, a science which ushered in the idea of a mechanistic universe. And he was also one of the early members of the Royal Society, which became a gatekeeper of what was to be considered the dominant narratives in science. For Blake, simply believing all reality and existence to be the material world is simply to be caught in this dull round of existence. And to think you can obtain the answers to existence from its products in the material world is simply to hold a mirror to it, not to see through and beyond it. This is the ratio, as Blake described it. But Blake wrote that reason, or the ratio of all we have already known, is not the same that it shall be when we know more. So to know more, you must use your imagination to see something different from what you can just see with your five senses. Five senses can be just like a trap, or just we're all held in this five senses. I suppose, Ike obviously talks about the thing about we can only see a tiny little bit of frequency of light. So we're caught in our perception around us, but we can try and see beyond those five senses. And I like this quote as well. What is now proved was once only imagined. That's from Heaven and Hell. That to me could be a definition of science as it should be. So what is now proved was once only imagined. To achieve a breakthrough in science, it shouldn't be about following the consensus so you can get funding and avoid derision and censorship. But the great breakthroughs need inspiration, imagination. And that applies equally to real science as it does to art. In terms of Blake's views on society, the world of people around him, he wasn't a mystic, as he's often referred to, rejecting the world to go on a monastery or be a hermit, reflecting on God quietly and reflectively. He lived in London and he worked hard throughout his life, wanting his work to be seen by people and affect a change in their mind. In his own time, there were cataclysmic changes in the social order in the French and American revolutions. So back to quote a little bit more from Northrop Frye, saying Blake hailed with delight the apocalyptic element in the American and French revolutions, the glimpse of eternal freedom that they gave. But he also saw growing in France and England alike a deism. And just to break, deism is a belief which I would say maybe led to our modern humanism. So at the time, it was still believing in God creating the universe, but then leaving it as sort of this idea of like a giant clockwork. So he created it, but then it all works by itself. And the same with man. He won't interfere with its workings. He won't reveal and communicate with man. So I would say this first steps of distancing a concept of God from the material world, although they were still trying to stay within Christian theology to appease the church, but it was setting in motion this idea of a mechanistic universe which can then be dissected and controlled by man. But he also saw, coming out of the revolutions, this self-righteous mob rule, two mobs which most hated not each other, but the sane voice of prophecy, telling them how much of what they were doing in war and peace alike was futile and stupid and wrong. In his earlier work, Blake thought of the essential mental fight of human life as a revolt of desire and energy against repression, though even then he was careful to say that reason was the form of desire and energy, which are never amorphous except when they are repressed. Late, who tended more to see this conflict as one of the genuine reason, or what he called intellect, against rationalization. For me, this is about, again, seeing through the nonsense. Just to relate it to our own time, it's the need to question and be critical, not give way to hysteria, which is what the powers want. They want division, fighting in streets, the mobs. Look at what's happening today with, I don't know, immigrant gangs in Europe. You know, there's a lockstep Rockefeller predictive planning thing, which they did decades ago. And it was saying, oh, there'll be riots, and then the authorities will need to exert more control. Just an excuse for authoritarianism. But I hope people are rejecting this. I think in the UK, there was stuff around the Palestine marches around Remembrance Day, counter demos around the Cenotaph. There were some minor incidents and scuffles, and I wonder if these were maybe agent provocateurs trying to get a bigger conflict going. But that didn't seem to happen then or since. And there's been tensions, but I feel people maybe have risen above it. So maybe the powers that be are underestimating humanity. Or maybe they just dumbed us down and made the masses so apathetic that they won't even care enough to do the triggering. But to go back to Blake, there's this other connection with my D-talk, because that reference there talked about the revolutions in terms of an apocalypse on Earth. And that this idea that it's desirable because it will herald a new age. I think it's been corrupted by the powerful's wish for this new world order in their minds. But they just want a golden age where it would be great for them, a tiny minority. But I don't see Blake as wishing for a destruction of the common humanity. I feel he wanted a coruscating light to be shone throughout humanity so the repressions of authoritarian governments and religions were obliterated, and a visionary humanity would then be able to perceive the infinity beyond the material. So then this powerful quote, if the doors of perception were cleansed, everything would appear to man as it is, infinite.
Do you want a new picture?
I don't think we're quite there yet. For man has closed himself up till he sees all things through narrow chinks of his cavern. We know that there were forces behind the American and French revolutions, as those that have come after, or at least infiltration of them. So that initial energy, the just desire of the oppressed majority to overthrow their leaders, was used or later taken over and new leaders put in place. Blake became disillusioned with the years following these uprisings as he came to realise there were new systems of authority being put in place in those countries which merely put a different face on a controlling force. He had views many of us would share about the abuse of money. He believed, in Frye's words, that a money economy is a continuous partial murder of the victim, as poverty keeps many imaginative needs out of reach. Peace is this money economy functioning. War is the same economy breaking down. and proceeding from partial to total murder of the victim. Blake was against any form of control by those who assumed power and authority. And this was also his attitude regarding organised religion, which codified and regulated and therefore stifled and destroyed the true spiritual nature of humanity. So another Blake quote: "The ancient poets animated all objects with gods or geniuses, calling them by their names and adorning them with the properties of woods, rivers, mountains, lakes, cities, nations, and whatever their enlarged and numerous senses could perceive. And particularly they studied the genius of each city and country, placing it under its mental deity, till a system was formed, which some took advantage of and enslaved the vulgar by attempting to realize or abstract the mental deities from their objects. Thus began priesthood, choosing forms of worship from poetic tales, and at length they pronounced that the gods had ordered such things. Thus men forgot that all deities reside in the human breast." The reference to words becoming abstracted from the things is similar to post-structuralist theory, this idea that language systems are just arbitrary signs. And you get from that into this sort of postmodernism that nothing is authentic. Terms like authentic are considered elitist. But these movements are linked, they've been hijacked. This tendency towards rejecting an essence, a purity, an origin, a soul, something that underlies and is superior, but part of us, the world, society, or at least it's a version of us before we were corrupted. Nowadays, it seems in our culture, corruption in any form is actually seen as something to be encouraged. Look at any music video or film from Hollywood or something showing on Netflix. In Christian terms, as discussed with John Dee, there was from the church medieval times, the concept that man was at a pure state with Adam prior to the fall, prior to being cast out of Eden. And before that, there was this pure language that Adam spoke to God, and it was lost. And many of the esoteric teachings and wisdom that Dee and others have gone to followed have looked at attempts to reclaim that lost pure language so they can ascend the chain of being to restore humanity's place alongside God and the angels. So this is sort of a rejection of this idea that so going back to something being intrinsic to what it's named, so some sort of ideal language. If we go on to the next picture, you're doing very well. So Blake,
that's not the next picture, is it? We've had that one. No, that one. So I wasn't doing very well at all.
Oh, that was probably my fault then. I should have told you probably to move on.
No, I am going to blame you.
Yeah, it was my fault. Yeah. Anyway, so this is a lithograph. He's only lithograph apparently. I'm not quite sure what that is. Liz will probably give a better.
It's it's from stone.
Oh, that's interesting. So this is called Enoch. I guess a lot of us would have heard stuff about Enoch, but he was a mysterious Old Testament figure. As I know, there's a book of Enoch which is separately that is very interesting. But this celebrates artistic creativity as springing from closeness to the divine. So it's this idea that Enoch created writing, and Blake places him on this dais holding a book inscribed with Hebrew letters, hovering beings to either side representing prophecy and inspiration. Below, Enoch's children practice painting, music and poetry to suggest that all the arts flow from writing. This symbolically shows perhaps these ideas like Jewish Kabbalah, which I mentioned again in the quiz, this connection that they would say with the ancient language of Hebrew, that it's maybe closer to God than some of the other language after, and through that there can be this get through to this ancient connection to God. That passage when he's talking about ancient poets distributing names to trees, lakes, fountains, it reminds me of like pagan times. And there's been many claims that Blake was a druid. The ancient druid order claims that Blake was their chosen chief from 1799 until his death. This apparently was in a pamphlet, but without actually providing any evidence of it. To me, I don't think he would have actually been a druid. I think what actually he was about is something very counter to druidry. And actually, Fry was talking about how Blake talked about all the human sacrifice in the druid times. I guess some people would dispute that, but maybe that was going with the thoughts of the day, although I have heard other people say that there was human sacrifice in ancient times, whether that was quite the druid times or pre that. But as I said before, Blake had his concept of nature was that it was not something to be hated, but it only had value through people seeing through it and a visionary nature. And it was just this material world which could become a trap, and the idea was to see beyond that. This makes me think, we've just been listening to Mark Passio over this week and him talking about Satanism, saying they want to identify with nature as man is just another animal. And you know, obviously there's with the sort of a Darwinism connecting us to animals, but Satanism saying man is no better, often worse than animals. As Passio said, this is then saying it's okay for us to act like animals and reject this higher consciousness of humans. For me, Blake is counter to this satanic principle. He saw nature as only vital when it was perceived by people. He saw angels, as I said, in the tree. It's a spiritual infused with the material. And I think for him, humanity has this ability to invest the world, natural and constructed, with something extra. So as he said, there is no matter, that there is a material world, but that is literally the material of experience and has no reality apart from the forms in which it subsists, except as an abstract idea on the same plane as that proportion. Again, these things, they need to be enlivened with vision to get to some real spiritual essence within them. So to go back to this quote that I mentioned before, if the doors of perception were cleansed, everything would appear to man as it is, infinite. So as we all know, I'm sure probably, that Aldous Huxley took words from that to use for his title of his book, which then became hugely influential in the 60s. It's talked about his experiments with, I think it was mescaline, but psychedelic drugs, and how this could take you through to perceive, I guess, what we've been talking about, this idea of something spiritual, infinite, beyond, within the material world. I don't know. I mean, obviously Graham Hancock and others have talked about the importance of psychedelics in this consciousness of people to enable them to get to different levels of civilization. I don't think Blake would have approved, you know, for him. I think he was, you know, he saw visions because of this connection with God as he saw it. And I don't think he would be advocating the use of substances to try and get, maybe, I don't know, speaking for him, but some, you know, false synthetic idea of an enlightened perception. But it just would be something transient. But it's important, really, obviously, because Blake, so much of his work has been taken up by so many people in popular culture, and then maybe refracted through the lens of things like Aldous Huxley's book. So then that was then an inspiration for the band The Doors. They took the name from Huxley's book, which took its name from Blake's quote. And, you know, there's obviously been lots of research done by people like Dave McGowan with Scenes Inside the Canyon on bands, the counterculture from that era. And, you know, a lot about the Doors. Obviously, many people will know Jim Morrison's dad was an admiral and was in charge of the ship involved in the Gulf of Tonkin false flag incident, which led to the Vietnam War. Also, I was hearing on Sheep Farm with Liz about Ray Manzarek's strange military career. Mysteriously, apparently, spontaneously decided to sign up for the army, and he was assigned to highly selective army security agency as a prospective intelligence analyst, stationed in Japan and Laos, but was discharged after a year, and then ends up being in a rock and roll band. Now, as Liz will tell you, I love the Doors music, and I love a lot of that counterculture 60s stuff. So it's quite hard for me to sort of go into that, one of those sort of, you know, your heroes being punctured sort of thing. But in terms of this talk, the main thing is, you know, as I say, Blake has been taken up by many as giving a sort of justification for the sort of anything goes, and as I say, maybe even bad is good type of culture that we get now. He did write about the marriage hearse and the importance of fulfilling your desires. He apparently once asked his wife, you know, he said that he should have sex with the maid. She disagreed. So
he said he was faithful.
No, he was, but
only because she disagreed.
But he was married to her for, you know, his entire life, and he died before her. And she said that he used to come to her for hours every day and talk to her as normally after he died. But again, the perception in the modern day, there's a headline on this Telegraph comment section article: was William Blake a genius or just a sex-obsessed madman? A new biography portrays Blake as a prophet, but is there more to him than X-rated fancies and sub-Tolkien silliness? And if we go, yeah. Well, yeah, there may be both. So if you go to the next picture, I mean, this is the marriage of heaven and hell, and perhaps maybe that's the most where we get, I don't know, a lot of this, because the marriage of heaven and hell, just in the title there, you could, as I say, going back to our talk earlier in the week, this idea now in our culture, there's anti-heroes, there's a blurring between good and evil. The stories of killers who have a soul become heroes who reveal themselves to be low and corrupt. So this, you know, the culture today where we've got a statue of the Church of Satan in a public building in America, and so much of the music, culture, literature, film is not about how people battle darkness inwardly or outwardly, but about embracing this dark and lauding it as a just and effective path. And this seems to tap into the agenda, as we know, this possibly Luciferian, for some, as some people term it. But I remember seeing, can't remember which one it was, just some crime TV drama when I was a kid, and the murderer was involved with the occult, and he idolized William Blake in a similar way to Dee, but perhaps I would say maybe with less justification. Blake is often lumped in with the occult, even with devil worship. If you go on to the next picture, which is Blake's painting the great red dragon and the woman clothed in the sun. This painting and the poem Auguries of Innocence both play a prominent role in Thomas Harris's novel Red Dragon, one of the Hannibal Lecter novels, which was made into a couple of films, which the killer Francis Dolarhyde has an obsession with the painting. Dolarhyde imagines himself becoming a being like the Red Dragon featured in the paintings. And in Hannibal, another one of the books, a copy of Blake's painting The Ancient of Days is owned by the character Mason Verger. But I think the poem mentioned above, Auguries of Innocence, is an encapsulation of Blake's metaphysical and moral philosophy. And I suspect its misunderstanding and abuse by the fictional murderer in Harris's novel is an example of how Blake's work is willfully misinterpreted. So, I mean, I think these are great lines. To see a world in a grain of sand and a heaven in a wildflower, hold infinity in the palm of your hand and eternity in an hour. Yeah, well, I won't try and trample over those words, but I suppose you can have it as above, so below, but also the concept as well as of a holographic universe where little particles contain the whole universe and everything is interconnected. But then the poem continues with a catalogue of these couplets, and it's got phrases like a robin redbreast in a cage puts all heaven in a rage. Again, this idea of innocence being trapped, and that is against what Blake wants. And then the poem finishes, every night and every morn some to misery are born, every morn and every night some are born to sweet delight, some are born to sweet delight, some are born to endless night. Now I can imagine, I can't remember the film Red Dragon. I haven't, or I saw the original, I think, with Brian Cox, but I can't remember quite how they took it, but I can imagine that the killer maybe wanted to this endless night, saw it as being some people are born to the dark side type thing. But for me, Blake was a fervent lover of God, not Satan. He championed the downtrodden in life, not the powerful. I used to be confused by this quote from Blake: sooner murder an infant in its cradle than nurse unacted desires. I read it, and I think many have since, as saying, if you want to murder baby, then you should, if that's what you desire.
Hey?
No.
I wasn't listening. I just heard if you want to murder a baby, that's okay. Sorry, Karen.
No, sorry. I'll reread the quote then, because sooner murder an infant in its cradle than nurse unacted desires. But basically, this sounds satanic, saying you got permission to do the most atrocious acts. So it's confused me, as I really didn't think that that's what Blake was about. His eulogies to innocent children, which I'll talk about, just that didn't seem to equate. But it was Northrop Frye in that critical book explained what the quote actually means. He was basically saying, if you deny this energetic aspect of yourself, then that is as bad as if you murdered a baby, because it is a destruction of the very essence of life. So he's not saying go out and kill a baby if that's what you want to do. But like I say, I think it's just people can read what they want into a quote and then use it for their purposes. And there will be some sickos out there that probably have that on a website or something, and they would say, well, look, Blake was a Satanist or whatever, and he's saying it's okay to do this. So I guess that's the dodgy thing where words can be misused. I think important principle of this Blake's Marriages of Heaven and Hell is this line: without contraries there is no progression. It has to be opposing forces to create attention to create. As I mentioned earlier, the current agenda is to collapse difference, and this is something that many, like Mark Passio, criticised in the New Age movement, talking about that earlier. They're saying we're all one in a material sense, but this crushes us into a mould which confines us. For Blake, we are all and everything is in unity, only in the infinite, which is outside and beyond the material world. Frye argues that Blake's Marriage of Heaven and Hell is satire, satirizing the world where moral virtue is enforced by religions and governments with violence and repression, so that the distinction between what is right and wrong become blurred. And we know that now in our own time, of course. So we have terrible executions, massacres, torture, wars wreaked in the name of religion, supposedly to uphold and enforce good, but also the laws on behavior which restrict humanity's desire for freedom and unfettered creativity. In opposition to this, hell, which rejects this prescribed and enforced morality and encourages man to break the chains, is good. For I said, satire is an acid that corrodes everything it touches. And Blake saw in the acid bath he gave his engravings, because he was an engraver as well as a painter and a writer, a method of his approach. And another Blake quote that symbolizes this. But first, the notion that man has a body distinct from his soul is to be expunged. This I shall do by printing in the infernal method, by corrosives, which in hell are salutary and medicinal, melting apparent surfaces away and displaying the infinite which was hid. So I would say the way Blake has been misunderstood, often willfully and deliberately, I suspect, has been used then to justify behaviours and actions which he never intended. Maybe other thinkers, writers like Dostoevsky, Nietzsche have been used in similar ways or misused. Maybe I don't look into Nietzsche maybe a bit more for another talk another day, but he was certainly taken up by the Nazis after his death, and the concept of the Übermensch, sometimes translated as the Superman, was equated with Aryan master race superiority. I don't know, some might say maybe that was in line with what Nietzsche was thinking, I don't know. But I remember years ago watching one of those TV art shows discussing an exhibition of Blake at Tate Britain, and it started with the presenter trotting out a familiar line since Blake's own lifetime, that he clearly several sandwiches short of a picnic, or something like that. And then Germaine Greer talked about Blake's painting style with the muscular angels, and I think we've seen some of that in the paintings today. And, you know, God seen as this muscular guy. And she saw this in some eulogizing of might is right, and talked about how Romanticism in Germany led on to fascism and Nazism. And I think there might be something in that. They used art, symbolism, took advantage of a decadence. But I think it was just on that in terms of that program, just a soundbite that missed many points. For start, Blake wasn't a romantic. He's often lumped in there in these anthologies, but he was separate from the movements, like I said, and he wanted to make his own system. I would say the marriage of heaven and hell, considered in the light of our talk with Liz earlier in the week, I would say Blake is 100% saying we need to develop ourselves, project our energy, but it's with the aim of bringing about a spiritual awakening. And I think he does want that for everyone, not an elite or a master race. But for him, the suppression of desire is part of the method of repression that's carried out by the priesthood, the powerful, the corporate controllers of the dark satanic mills. When he says it's evil to stop desire and compares it to killing a child, we all know that children are the victims of the New World Order. I know we all are, but it seems that children are, if anything, the source of the agenda's power through their sacrifice. If we come to the good and evil angels at the last picture, Liz. I think, as I said before, it's defense of the children which shows that Blake is on the side of the good angels. So I'm just going to finish with a couple of his poems from Songs of Experience. So, A Little Girl Lost. Children of the future age, reading this indignant page, know that in a former time, love, sweet love, was thought a crime. In the age of gold, free from winter's cold, youth and maiden bright, to the holy light, naked in the sunny beam's delight. Once a youthful pair, filled with softest care, met in garden bright, where the holy light had just removed the curtains of the night. There in rising day, on the grass they play. Parents were afar, strangers came not near, and the maiden soon forgot her fear. Tired with kisses sweet, they agreed to meet when the silent sleep waves o'er heaven deep, and the weary tired wanderers weep. To her father white came the maiden bright, but his loving look, like the holy book, all her tender limbs with terror shook. Ona, pale and weak, to thy father speak. Oh, the trembling fear, oh, the dismal care that shakes the blossoms of my hoary hair. Well, I mean, I think in some way, again, can be taken as not too many steps to Brave New World and the kids playing at having sex in the bushes, and it could again be seen as just encouraging kids to go off and have sex, and it's again could be seen as this letting everything go. But I don't quite see it as that. Other people probably or might disagree, but again, I would say maybe with the Brave New World, it's talking about how that and how we see now making an agenda where children are seen as sexual beings. I think here he's just talking about how there can be love and it shouldn't be repressed. And I think it's important that even when she goes back to her dad, she's still a maiden. So I think that's saying I haven't gone any further than some kisses. But
that bloody baby come from there?
Hey? I'll get to that in a sec.
I understand how it bloody works.
So the poem's not about the painting, but they're two separate things. But
well, that's confused us.
But so then a little boy lost. Naught loves another as itself, nor venerates another so. Nor is it possible to thought a greater than itself to know. And father, how can I love you, or any of my brothers more? I love you like the little bird that picks up crumbs around the door. The priest sat by and heard the child. In trembling zeal he seized his hair, he led him by his little coat, and all admired the priestly care. And standing on the altar high, lo, what a fiend is here, said he, one who sets reason up for judge of our most holy mystery. The weeping child could not be heard, the weeping parents wept in vain. They stripped him to his little shirt and bound him in an iron chain, and burned him in a holy place where many had been burned before. The weeping parents wept in vain. Are such things done on Albion's shore? So again, he's criticizing the repressive church and people saying that they've got a right to repress. But to me, the boy was innocent. He was just saying, "Oh, I love people the same as that bird," you know. And so yeah, to me, just to round up, basically, this picture, the painting, is the good and the bad angel, and I think you can clearly see which is which there.
But
probably
the bad one has got a rope around his foot and is tethered.
Right, but I would say the message I'm taking from there is the little child is being kept. The good angel is keeping the little child away from the bad angel.
Oh yeah, that's obvious.
Yeah. So I'm just.
But you've got to ask as well.
Mm-hmm.
The baby's putting his arms up, and babies only put their arms up like that when there's somebody taller than them to take them away. So is he putting his arms up to God then? To say, fucking hell, get me away from these two fucking nutters.
Well, that's you very perceptive there. Maybe
because this is like the shadow work and the yin yang, and maybe the baby's trying to get away from fucking all of it and bloody transcend away from the material, emotional fucking state.
And I would say again, like I say, that without contraries, there's no progression. So
yeah, I would have said that too. I expect.
So
definitely.
So they've got the good and evil. Well, no, I think you made a good point there. That maybe he's the baby isn't just I'm going to grab hold of the good angel and just be satisfied with that.
Get away from both of those motherfuckers.
So yeah, there's like a light in the background there, like a sun, which I think you're right. But there.
Babies only do that with their arm when there's something bigger than them.
Yeah.
To pull them out of the arms.
And that. I think you've encapsulated Blake's message there.
Well, I could have. Well, what was the point of the last fucking 45 bloody minutes then? Right, should we go back to our bloody faces?
Oh well, if we have to subject people to that, yeah, go on, let's do it.
Right, so oh Christ, bloody hell! Look at that! Look what happens! Oh, it's infinity.
Yeah, there we go. It's the infinity that Blake wanted.
Infinity. I'm going to keep it like that.
To infinity and beyond.
I ended the stream. Oh Christ! I was like, so. I was going to say,
people are still there.
They
haven't dropped off.
Ask me what I've learned.
What have you learned, Liz?
Blake, dirty bastard.
You have to write for the Telegraph.
That's what I've learned. Well done, Mark. You did very well.
Well done for people still being in there.
Like I always say, can we thumbs up
Thank you,
it?
Linda.
Mainly for Mark.
No.
Brain. All right.
All of us.
For me.
Thumbs up yourself.
Can we thumbs up it? Hit a bell, like and subscribe, or whatever they say. Now, are you up for some questions? Not questions, but some. I've been writing down things.
Linda makes a good point. The good angel was stood in water. Yeah. So that
kind of not even in it though. She was sort of on. It was on the water.
Well, I guess that could be like connected with Jesus, walking on water.
So I've been writing down some things from the start. Do you want to hear it or not?
I would love to.
Thumbs up it
I would
from
love
Mark.
anyone's comments as well. Yeah.
Right, I'm going to do this. So Linda's got a book by Schubard, and it's A Sexual Path to Spiritual Vision. Have you ever heard of that, Mark?
I haven't.
Okay, next.
But I mean, I suppose there's lots of traditions. You've got in the Indian, you've got the Kama Sutra and things like that. So I mean,
Green loves the talks.
Thank you.
Johnny said interesting. Cosmic says very interesting.
Thank you very much.
Well presented.
Thank you very much. So yeah, I think it's like just about everything really. The current powers that shouldn't be just twist and pervert everything. So I think these things are undoubtedly positive, but it's when they get skewed and used for the wrong reasons that they just become destructive.
Green said, did some call him a Rosicrucian?
I'm not aware of that. But it could. I think they were so sort of secret that, I'm not aware of it, but it could be.
Ben's visited his grave.
Oh, was it Bunyan Fields?
Bunyan Fields.
But
Bunyan Fields. I don't know.
I've mispronounced it. I know. But,
Bunyan Fields.
Enlighten me, Ben. Is he still there?
Margaret Kirk says cosmic has turned into cosmetic.
Oh, that's good. I like that.
Johnny said they're trying too hard, and that was when you were talking about the descent. I think Johnny was saying they're trying too hard to cause dissent.
Right, yeah. And I do get positive things that the people they're not biting. I know that there have been riots and things, but in parts in Europe but I don't know. Let's hope that the higher.
Ben said the squirrels were very friendly. Ben, is it called Bunyan Fields though?
Margaret says a fucking Bunyan hurts.
Get out the fields then. Green said, did he not go with the angels? But I've already answered that. He went up in a fiery. He was in a spaceship.
Oh well, there's so much.
It went up in a spaceship.
So much interesting stuff about Book of Enoch, isn't there?
Yeah.
Oh, Ben's put a link in. Is that about?
Oh, is that to your blog spot?
Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant. I'm going to stick that in because if I don't press the right button, the chat goes, Ben, and I don't think I pressed it with this one because I was too busy worrying about Mark's bloody pictures. So I will stick it all in the description box down below, whatever that means. Rick
thanks, John.
said David Axelrod has got 2 LPs based on Blake's work, Songs of Innocence and Songs of Experience, and he says it's worth a listen.
Oh, right. Thanks for that. I'll give it a check out. I think Yarwobble as well, who was in Public Image for a long time. I know he did. I can't remember which of Blake's works, but he also did concept album.
That link is when. I didn't know you did a video about that, Ben. I've watched all your videos 77 times.
Well, yeah,
a billion times.
Right, we'll have to get.
Have you even started the very first one now, Ben? The very first one. Anyway, so that is about when he went to the grave. That link.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah, we definitely have to watch that.
Yeah.
How have we missed that?
I don't know.
I don't know. Right. Anyway, that's something else for us to watch.
Linda said he's into tantric. I think.
Who is?
Who'd you bloody rabbiting on about for the last hour? Christ alive.
Well, I thought she meant Ben. Well, maybe.
I don't think he's got the. And then we started talking about Passio, and it's like he's angry, isn't he? And some Ben and Green and me and Margaret, we all had a little chat about it, and I was like, he is a fucking angry, but he
comes with good stuff.
Oh my Christ. I can't tell you how much, Ben, he's almost beaten you to my favourite at the moment. Sorry. I mean, I don't bring him into bed with us like I do you, Ben. Ben comes to bed with us every night.
Yeah, there's too much sharing.
I can't sleep without Ben in bed with me.
Yeah.
It's
all right, Ben.
Used to it.
It's all right, Ben. I've accepted.
Gives him a night off.
I've accepted the situation. It's a situation. So it's all happening tonight, isn't it?
To be fair, I couldn't have Mark Passio in bed. You're all fucking dolts. You're all fucking babies in fucking nappies. But can I just say something? He has inspired me to. I'm going to be doing some work on some of the stuff he talks about. I've never been so fucking fired up and inspired to just keep going. And yeah, he's angry, but he's been trying to tell us for 17 years. I was in it. I know what the fuck's going on. Will you please listen to me? I just said in the chat, I get pissed off after 17 minutes. And I said, minutes, seconds. But no, he's got fire in his belly. And I think we need that. So I love him.
And knowledge. And
so much knowledge. Fucking knowledge.
He used to be.
I'd say don't throw the baby out with the bathwater with that.
He used to be a Satanist. He used to be
a priest high up. So he knows what's going on.
He's got inside knowledge.
And he's like, I wouldn't even. He says, I don't agree with them, but I can't fault them. They don't infight. They say they're going to do something and they fucking get it done. Not like us fucking idiots. Just like the Earth's flat. No, the Earth's round. No, the Earth's a triangle. No, boom, we're in a fucking FEMA camp. Anyway, he really fires me up and I fucking love him. And and Linda said the painting at the end reminded her of innocence of the child, which was a nice thing to end on.
Well, yeah. Well, thank you, because that was my point, really. I was trying to sort of round it off that I think that, that's one of the things that Blake's known for. The little boy lost, little girl lost. Obviously, I've written about lost children a lot, so it strikes a chord with me. But yeah, to me, that's at the heart of it, really. That so I certainly do not believe that he would have wanted his work to be used in the way that it has been
by the baddies.
But yeah, and I guess some would have read some things and thought that he was defending.
I think he was doing his shadow work out in the open.
Yeah, which I suppose is the artist, really, a true artist. But like we said,
100%.
But like we said before, doing your shadow work, which doesn't mean
doing your shadow work,
which doesn't mean lying in a pile of
it's
blood.
It's exploring it and not ignoring it's there, but
not saying this is the way to be. Let's all be like this.
Yeah, let's not do that.
No.
So, Diego says, "What about Russell?" Now, some people might not know who Russell is. Russell is Ben's blow up alien. And I used to have a Russell, and I don't quite know what.
Oh, there's been some buffering, is there? Oh dear.
Who by Johnny? No, Johnny's had that before, I think.
And Ben's had a bit as well, though.
Oh, maybe that means we've got to go.
Well,
is it time?
I think that
even the fucking internet's had us fucking enough of it.
I've deserved a beer now.
No, you haven't.
Or you've deserved a beer for watching it. Either way,
what have I deserved?
I've
already had the chocolate trifle.
I'm gonna tend my bunions.
No, you're not. Right, guys, we fucking love you. Thank you for putting up with our madness. And I got a good one here. So thumbs it up just for him, even if it's not for my fucking shit. Just thumbs it up for that boy. He puts a lot of work into that. And,
I just realised I was doing that. It looks like I was shooting you there. That's not what I meant.
Could you type, Linda? Do you need us to type my email? I think you've got it, love. You need to send me your address, and then I can send you a.
You've got contact with Linda.
I have got contact with Linda, but I just want to make sure. I'm going to send you a present. Congratulations to Linda.
Yeah, well done,
and
Linda.
For everybody who stuck with it.
Yeah,
I would say.
Yeah.
And hope to see you again next Saturday.
Yeah.
The minute we turn this off, we start again for next week.
Yeah. Seamless.
All right, love you guys. You're absolutely bloody brilliant. And yeah, we got this little catchphrase now. Having fun in the madness. We just keep having fun in the madness. And sometimes we'll get angry. Right, come on, we got to make our thingy.
All right,
what is it? Should we have hats?
All right.
So because it takes a while for this to turn off.
Stop.
We've got to make our thumbnail. What should we do? What should we do? Some suggestions, please. We've got to make our thumbnail. That's the best bit. Oh, alien.
Is it
alien? I don't know. We're going to do. Right, we're just about to do our catchphrase. Look at him as if he's like, "What is that?" Oh, you're going to give him a kiss. Hold on. Right. Bye, everybody.